Welcome back, everybody, for another night of VCS action. My name is Karis. With me is the ever-lovely Yulwei. We have some bangers for you tonight. First off the block is going to be GAM taking on SBTC. And to break down everything, I'm going to go over to you, Yulwei. GAM looking resplendent.
Oh, they are. We were so curious, but also so skeptical coming into the split about their performance level. And I mean, they've just blown us all completely out of everywhere, honestly. Like, I did not think they would start 5-0 and looking like the best team, winning against Cerberus, winning against Team Wales. Also, SGB is still on the menu, and they have been resurgent, so maybe that's a bigger challenge next week. But so far, this team has been absolutely incredible, and yeah, really not much to say. They lost B, but was it even losing B? Maybe they got rid of B and got even better now.
Never thought I would, I agree with you completely. Never thought I would say a team could look better after losing a player like B.
It's insane.
Who is obviously just an absolute gun. But yeah, GAM, perhaps the shift with the coaching staff after what happened at Worlds has really helped them. I think Hanke, who we are obviously big fans of here, has taken a bit more of a lead role, and it seems to be working. Looking quickly to the other side of the rift, it is SBTC. It's a bit of a different story there.
Yeah, SBTC is a very confusing team right now because their start was honestly not bad. They looked decent. They looked like a middle of the pack, maybe playoff contender team, which is honestly all you could expect from this roster, in my opinion. But now they are experimenting with their roster. Okay, they 2-0'd Box earlier this week. That's to be expected. Box hasn't won a single game, so you can kind of disregard that result. Everyone is going to 2-0 Box. So afterwards, they then got stomped yesterday, which, yeah, it wasn't a pretty sight. And today they're facing GAM, who has been on an amazing roll of games. So it's an uphill battle for them again. They're trying to incorporate new players, right? They're trying to go Vin Boys over Slater, which is a little confusing for me because Slater actually had some good games at the start. And you've picked up this legend of the VCS to then not play him for a prospect that no one really believes in Vin Boys. Very confusing. And then their jungle position is even more worrying, I guess. DNK. Well, DNK, especially, I know you are not a big DNK fan, right? You have never been.
No, that's Marby. Marby's not a big DNK fan. I like DNK.
You like DNK? Okay, fair enough. So maybe we want to see DNK back, but we definitely want to see DNK over Spot, because Spot had it rough in the last few series. He was inting those early games quite heavily, and I'm not sure what's going on while they're playing Spot and Vin Boys, but I want to see DNK and Slater back in for a little bit of a better chance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Spot, there's a little bit of logic there. We do know that this guy has a very high peak before his ban. That's a long time ago now, though. DNK, as I said, I like DNK. I don't think he's a world beater, but I think he's just sort of Mr. Consistent. He's not going to carry your team, but he's very rarely going to be the reason you lose. And in some of those games, Spot was the reason they lost.
And DNK is back in. We have a draft on my screen, so I'm going to transition this over there. Then. And DNK is starting, but it's still Win Boys. So we have one player back in.
Okay.
So that's an interesting altercation of this roster. So a new iteration here on stage today, with Palette and Vin Boys now together in the bot lane. And first pick Gragas. I just saw the stats there. 20% win rate. That's insane to me, because Gragas over in the LEC, when I saw the opening games yesterday, seems to be one of the dominating picks. So we are first picking Gragas, but in terms of success rate, Gragas so far really falling behind other regions.
For sure. And just as we watch the draft play out, I do think we both predicted 2-0, just to get that in there for GAM. I think that was a pretty obvious prediction, but it is going to be Aphelios and Sejuani picked up for SBTC. Aphelios' first pick is very interesting to me. Answered back with possibly Levi and Annie as players are having fun on camera. You love to see it. I mean, Lee Sin for Levi, Annie in the mid lane. It's looking pretty good for GAM.
Yeah, Lee Sin, first game of the day. That's a good wake-up medicine, I guess, for me, together with the coffee I'm gonna get later. That's a Levi Leeson to hype me up for the day. I like to see it. Sejuani, by the way, also a really unsuccessful champion so far in the VCS. I'm not entirely sure why. She's a good skirmisher and should actually fit a lot of the playstyles from the side of the VCS teams, but so far really hasn't found much success. We see the classic combo of Aphelios and Thresh, so back to 2020-2021 days. No bot lane picked so far for the side of GAM. Style and Xin usually tend to go for like hard pushing lanes that don't scale quite as heavily because their team doesn't need scaling. They win in 28 minutes, so kind of expect the same to come in here. But we can also see Ren is aware of that. We have both the Varus and the Heimerdinger already banned away, so I expect another ranged support or maybe a big long range ADC like Caitlyn being banned away here. So it's either going to be Caitlyn or I don't know.
No, Ashe is already
Ashe is already banned. Yeah. Maybe even a Jhin, which can go both support and ADC. And remember, Xin, of course, used to be an ADC, so I feel like those ADC bans serve the double value of actually banning two positions. So looking at the start of this composition, actually Nautilus, kind of confusing, but Nautilus is known as the Thresh counter. But I feel like
Nautilus as well, in the composition that GAM has, Nautilus would be a pretty potent addition.
Oh, for sure. And GAM with a lot of agency already, right? We probably start with a mid lane. Annie could, of course, go to the bot lane as well. We have mid lane Gragas. All of these champions on the GAM side are red, which is nice, but they also can start fights quite easily, which is honestly not too bad for SPTC, because Aphelios Thresh likes to have fights being started on them, then reposition and fight from the backside. So in terms of style of compositions, those hard engage champions on the side of GAM don't do too well into the side of Aphelios, especially with the Thresh. But this is now maybe the breaker of this whole scheme, because Jinx is back in the meta. She was mostly buffed on 13.5, I believe, so she's not actually on the strong state of life patch, but she can be played on 13.4, especially into Aphelios. Used to be a decent matchup later on in the game, but...
Look, don't be silly your way.
What do we have here?
It's Zerilulu. This is a crazy one. We never see this. We actually haven't seen it for a little while, in the VCS in particular. But this is, pretty tried and true bot lane combo. Just going to be scaling alongside each other.
Yeah, now we have last pick for Emperor, which, of course, he's the solo... Yep, he's the Emperor of the last year, and he got so many solo kills, also on the likes of Kiaya. I don't really think Fiora can get many solo kills into Gragas. She should be able to pressure him out of lane, but if Gragas dies to Fiora in lane, something went horribly wrong on his side, so I feel like Kiaya can neutralize this lane quite easily. I'm not in love with this Fiora pick, I have to say, because the rest of the team is very much set up to teamfight, and now we only have a single melee champ to set up the Sejuani stun, and that's a champ that wants to split push, so not my favorite champion. I think Jax would have fit the composition a bit better, even though Jax into Gragas is not the preferred matchup of most people. So yeah, I feel like SPTC lost themselves a little bit on the second half of the draft. I really like their start, but they still have some decent win conditions for late game scaling, Vin Boys and Palette together. If they can win lane here against Style and Xin, they should be the combo that really dictates the pace of the game.
Yeah, they very much could be. I just think they don't have a huge amount of counterplay to the massive death ball that GAM is going to be bringing. There's so much engage, there's so much damage in that immediate burst AoE that GAM is putting out. Any mistake from SPTC is just going to get seized on and instantly broken apart. And SPTC is not a team that plays perfectly.
Yeah, unfortunately, that has not really been the thing for this team. Their early wins, actually, against SGB and so on, it looked like a resurgence for the likes of DR1, right? DR1 looked crazy. We had DNK with decent games. Slater actually looked quite good. Palette was impressing me in the first week as well. So
yeah, 100%.
I feel like most of their power comes from the laners. Vinboys needs to show us that he can actually do the same as Slater has shown in some of the games. Now, I feel like the fact that Vinboys is starting with Palat gives me a little bit of hope, because Palat has played with so many ADCs over the years, right? He's one of the legendary supports in the league, so if he trusts in the process and he trusts into Vinboys being good enough to play in the VCS, being good enough to replace Slader, then I kind of feel like I want to give him a little bit of time to scale into that position, but it needs to come rather quickly, because SBDC is on a downward spiral.
They are, and I mean, your way. Every split should have known. After a good week one, we go around the SBTC circle. You are here.
It's so
it's
insane that it's always true.
It happens every
unbelievable.
single split. Normally that first step of getting their fans hyped lasts a little bit longer. They've gone down that downward spiral a bit faster this time.
I believe we're currently on worst third week, but they had hard matchups, so you hold hope. Yeah.
True. It is a very detailed circle, and it's always correct. But onto the Rift we go for GAM taking on SBTC. This is a huge matchup in terms of fan bases. These are bitter rivals, and two of the biggest teams in the VCS in terms of fan base. In terms of performance on the Rift, though, there is only one king, and he wears yellow.
Yep, 5-0, as you can see over there at the top of your screen. 5-0 for GAM, insane start. They've lost 2 games so far. They're 2 close best-of-3s against Wales and against Cerberus. And I believe against Cerberus they could have actually lost this series. So that's going to be an interesting one for the second half, as Cerberus is also looking resplendent. But GAM could go off to a 7-0 start in the first half of the split, and we haven't had a 7-0 in a while. Usually GAM starts a little slow and then ends 7-0 on the second half, so quite exciting to see this team, now with the new old support back, be quite as good as all the time before.
Levi getting harassed here by Enpa, but does have Kiaya coming in for support, so I don't know how this one's going to go. They aren't going to actually lock the Fiora down or anything. Ghost. Yeah, he did.
That is,
That's a decision.
That's interesting. So
he's
he
going to get a lot of
scared.
damage onto Kiaya.
Kiaya didn't play this quite as well as he could. I think he could have tried to just go over the other wall and not face Enpa, because it was quite obvious that Enpa would walk back into lane as Fiora, and you don't win level 1 Gragas into Fiora. Now Kiaya in a little bit of a questionable situation here in the lane state. Of course, he still has the flash. Interestingly enough, he also went for the Comet, so trying to poke from afar, trying to chunk Enpa out in lane and make it a little bit more manageable for himself instead of the Grasp, where you have to interact much more. So really, yeah, I expect Q-Max from a Kiaya and just uninteractive Q spam to get the minions. He might fall behind quite far in CS, especially after this start now.
He may well, but you have to ask the question of how much he cares about that, being down a few waves in CS as that Gragas. Particularly up against a Fiora. Not sure how much it'll matter. We look at the bot lane. This should be a very uninteractive lane. These two ADCs will probably just poke back and forth at each other a little bit, but I can't see any kills coming in down here.
Okay, we could see a kill coming in over here, though.
Are they just going to go straight under the tower? Kiaya doing well, blocking off those vitals, but Enpa finds it anyway.
Let's
the sun
go.
comes in and he goes down. Enpa with first blood. Lovely stuff from DNK.
And what a challenge thrown down to this early game monster team that has been GAM since week number 2. They have cut their game time down to 28 minutes. They've dominated teams like the Secret game you casted, I believe, where Secret was actually doing fine in game 2, and then the game ended at 22 minutes because, yeah, GAM just knocked at the doors of the base and ran away with the game. But let's look at the setup again. Enpa. This is very obvious, but there's not much Kiaya can do. Kiaya has to E DNK's Q there, which takes priority. The disengage on the bot side for SBTC. But yeah, the way Kiaya has to play is either flash or E into the Sejuani Q. So you interrupt that CC chain, but he did neither, which is very confusing to me, because he had the tools available to him, so kind of just surrendered his life, died, and now he's back in lane.
Yep. Just TP'd back, but that is now a Sheen already picked up. Ooh, Style going very low. Needs to actually be careful here.
No Q activation for Vinboys.
Hurting.
It looked
Yeah, he
kind
didn't
of...
have the mana.
Yeah, it looked scary because Winboys had purple gun, and you think about purple Q. The purple Q was just used in the trade, so Style felt rather safe there. Also still has the cleanse available. But yeah, honestly, bot lane early gank from Levi and not a single summoner used from Palette and Winboys. So huge early advantage in terms of tempo and map application for the side of SPTC.
Yeah, it's going pretty fantastic at the moment. Just sort of scanning up and down the CS numbers. It is just this bot lane that's really breaking apart. Do we see this dive coming in? Could be a good riposte with a TP. GAM's just going to call it off, but Enper's not going to let them chase it forward. That's a flash burn from Dia1. Kiaya on the way out, but look who's coming over the wall. It's DNK. Levi on the run, throws out a Q, just threatening. Can he get W? They can! They'll take down Emperor, and it's a 1-for-1.
Honestly, not the worst result for GAM after that horrible start. A kill over to Dia1 bodes well for the later stage of the game, but he did give up quite a lot of CS there, so in the end, GAM walks away with murder a bit on the tower into a level 5 Fiora with almost no secret CC or hidden CC, so it's very easy for this Fiora to counterplay. That was unbelievably risky, and GAM kind of lost their ways of the last week a bit. These plays... not the way to go for, as you can see. This is just almost impossible to play. Honestly, I don't see an angle where they can kill him here. Kiaya doesn't have the damage. Levi cannot double Q on Enper on the tower, so this play looks kind of doomed from the start, but this is the important Q from Levi. He lands the execution damage, and that enables them to get the counter kill. I'm not entirely sure if Enper had to go over the wall there after getting tagged by the Q. Maybe it would have been better to just stay on his side and let Dia1 execute the enemy. But it was okay. It was a 1-for-1. So.
It was a 1-for-1, but they're back.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to let Kiaya play the game. They're just going to let Enper scale into an absolute side lane monster. Kiaya stepping up, though, kind of risky. Thinks he can clear the minion wave in time, and I think he's actually going to be right, as DNK does manage to back up.
Yeah, much tankier now. Not level 2, he's level 5 now, so a little bit more HP to work with, especially full HP on the tower. Can also execute the minions quite easily now that he's level 5, 3 points in Q, so a little bit riskier. I like that they called it off. This is actually something that VCS teams used to be pretty bad at, where they had good plans, they had good start to fights, and then they couldn't ever restrain themselves if the play didn't look great. So it's always good to see these teams adapting and saying, well, we wanted to make this play happen, but it doesn't look possible. We don't quite know where mid lane is, so let's just call it off. We still got a plating for our top laner. It's still a winning play. We shouldn't make it into disaster.
Yeah, for sure. Just while we have a moment, never mind. As there is an engage there onto Zin, gets caught by the flay, has to burn his heal to get out, traded for the ignite of Palette. We're just a little bit over aggressive there. Just as I was saying, can you just quickly check stream chat your way in Discord? But we'll keep talking as we go. Level 6 now coming in for some junglers. Levi available, has some explosive play potential with that kick. If he can get anything done. And your way, with this early game continuing, what is going on with GAM?
Yeah, I don't know. They look kind of lost on the map, and now once again trying to dive at Enper on the top side, but he's still a Fiora and it's looking dangerous.
Ow, that was so close. One more vital would have been all it takes. Tibbers tanking the tower, just harassing Dia1. They're not actually going to go back under. They just want a tower plate, which they will get onto Carty, but GAM righting the ship for now.
Okay, that is actually quite good for Kiaya, because out of nowhere, after his early misplays, he's now 2-1 with the CS lead, and he got to the all-important first half item, which gives him so much sustain. He can trade his mana for HP and his HP for mana all the time now, so he should be fine in lane. Let's look at this again. I missed a bit of this because of tech issues, but it's just a setup on the dive. This is super aggressively played for Kiaya, but he lands the all-important ultimate. But look at that reaction for Enper. Enper actually parried that Tibbers over the wall. That's insane. That was probably anticipation. That's not a reaction. He probably knows there's something coming on the other side of the wall. But still, good thinking for Enper. Almost made the play turn around there again.
Yeah, it was extremely close. Levi goes for a play in the mid lane, doesn't quite land the Q onto Dia1. But yeah, as you were saying, fantastic play there, honestly, from both top laners. Enper did absolutely everything he had available to him, but unfortunately, the barrel was just a bit too good from Kiaya, timed with that Carty roam, and it's very hard to mess up your Addy mechanics. You sort of have to try.
Yeah. True, but it's also very telegraphed and very easy to outplay, especially with something like Fiora, right? Annie against Fiora is a very fun little experiment or thought experiment about champion design. One is all about counterplay, all about mind games, and the other one is just press button, kick W.
Yeah, Fiora is pretty easy. But yeah, I do agree. Seeing Annie come back into the pro meta is always so interesting because her numbers have to be so disgusting for her to be here. She's just a champion that just doesn't do a huge amount unless she can just one-shot the entire cast, which at the moment she kind of can. This DNK has a mosey down to the bot side.
It's funny because her engage has always been amazing, right? She was played back in the day as support just because of her engage. Sure, her laning was decent as well. 625 auto attack range does wonders.
Played support.
So it was quite good back in the day, but it was mostly about the AoE engage, right? Sona ultimate, any ultimate, those were the two big engage tools before Rakan days. But this was a bit too telegraphed. Palette, maybe don't throw the lantern in there when the enemy team is already disengaging. But it's fine. They're not really wasting too much time. Nowadays, Annie, actually one of the biggest reasons why she's back in the meta, sure, the buffs were huge, but the interaction with E and First Strike is just so broken. It's so stupid that you can't. There's no champion in the game that can trigger First Strike before Annie can, because Annie's E shield will always get priority. So no matter what you throw at her, no matter how much range you have, no matter if you're Kog'Maw AP or Vel'Koz, she can just press E and get her a First Strike interaction all the time. So that consistency gives her so much leeway. What do we have here in terms of leeway?
Enper in some trouble, gets barreled. In goes Levi, waits for the kick though, flashes over, Q, kill.
That was spicy from Levi. Nice flash there to get on the other side of Enper, but DNK catches the wave, so only a kill, no platings, no objectives on the map.
They have Herald.
Like they don't want to go for Herald right now. Herald, of course, nerfed, only brings 1.5 plates, so would only funnel a little bit of gold into the top laner. Okay.
Dia1 could be in trouble. Tibbers is out. In goes Levi once again, making more moves. Dia1 flashes away. But that's another spell burn. We go immediately down to the bot side. This is classic VCS action where there's another brawl. That one is not going to result in any kills either, but it does look like Vinboys has burnt everything.
Yeah, and this seems to happen in all the GAM games. It looks competitive early on, and then suddenly they flip a switch and win every single lane out of nowhere. It's mostly with Levi's movement from top straight to mid lane. This was a beautifully executed gank from both Kiaya and Levi. Of course, he has to parry this one. This is the important skill. That parry is way too late, and then Levi flash on the other side, ult him onto the other side, and then also follow up with the Q execution. Just beautifully played from both players mechanically, and suddenly Enper on the back foot.
Yeah, after such a dominant early game as well, DNK did everything he could to get this Fiora ahead, but it just hasn't worked out. Kiaya are able to turn things around with the help of Levi, of course, and also Carty roaming up. This is just kind of what we always see with GAM. Now, the gold is even, it has to be said. Like, we are talking about it as if GAM has fully taken control. That's not the case. The gold is even, and SE actually has the dragon lead. But after the way the early game went, the fact that the gold is even isn't really good enough. Rise ult, just scaring them off. There should be 2 dragons for SBTC. I don't think GAM really wants to contest this.
Levi could try to go for it. And
Kiaya in a lot of trouble. Over the wall they go. I don't think Kiaya can counterplay this.
Lunge.
Will lunge forward once more. There's the kill, a shutdown for the Fiora.
Yeah, Fiora Q is a very interactive play. A thing to play against. Very, very nice. She has permanent Qs and permanent dashes. Cool. But another solo kill for Enper. I'm sure someone is counting them. He's up to double digits already, I believe, the split. Enper is so insane when it comes to solo kills. It's almost a little bit funny and ridiculous. Yeah, okay. Kiaya played himself. Yep.
Okay.
Never
No,
mind.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I count that as Kiai playing himself. That was pretty sick from Empire.
True, but
Hook
Kiai
has
also
landed
went up the
in.
tower.
Oh, flash away and a kill for Vin Boys. Right as we talk about GAM getting it together, it's SE that really put their pedal to the metal.
That's very good to see. We want a competitive match today, and we want to see SPTC be one of our competitors when it comes to playoff spots as well. With the resurgence of SGB, with Wales looking okay, and Cerberus looking amazing, we are looking, and Flash actually coming in with 2 wins now as well. We have so many teams that are vying for those coveted spots.
Just silly. Why did you step up?
Yeah. He thought he didn't escape because he is Zeri and they are Sejuani, and Sejuani usually can't chase down a Zeri, but in this case she can, and suddenly it's first tower for SE. Look at that gold lead, that's 2k, that's 2 dragons. Yeah, we're praising GAM, but there's no reason for it right now. They were losing this game.
They have secured the second Rift Herald, but that really doesn't mean much compared to SE taking the full tower bot side, picking up 2 kills. Kiai are extremely low again, has to be very careful around Enpa. The grand challenge isn't there, or he may well have just died. And yeah, SE suddenly turning up the heat and looking a lot more like week 1.
Yeah, and I was super scared for the game to break open around the second dragon, because Vinboy's flash was down, his cleanse was down, Carty's flash was up, so I actually thought GAM had an opening there to just hard commit onto Vinboy's, destroy him, get the dragon, force SE to fight, and then just win the game from there. But the opposite kind of happened, where SE stabilized, they got kills in bot lane, they got a tower. Now Vinboy's is up to the first item, his flash is almost up again, so he should be safe for the next few minutes. And most of the impetus to move and just make plays happen is now on SBTC, surprisingly.
Yeah, I completely agree. You've also got Vinboys on that Gale Force, immediately using it, and bang! Boom goes the dynamite, and Zin goes down.
Beautifully done, and Zin is catching so many engages here from SE. He's not ready for the purple gun engage into Thresh follow-up, and it's just well played. It's just very clean execution. Not much Zin can do once he's hit by that purple gun. That's another kill for Vinboys. We talked about him against Slater and not being sure if he was the right choice, but it seems like SBTC and Palet believe in him, and for good reason, at least at the start of this game.
Yeah, he's really making a good case for himself. Slater could never. Looking at first items coming in, though, it looks like pretty much everyone but the supports. Everyone except the supports do have their mythics, and it's a lot of Rod of Ages your way. I think this one might be going long.
Yeah, Zin, honestly, that was foolish. You played ADC yourself. You should know how Aphelios works. The engage range with Purple Gun, and especially Purple Gun combined with Gale Force.
Did he play ADC when Aphelios existed?
I mean, in solo queue, hopefully.
You'd hope so, yeah.
True, he wasn't in competitive when Aphelios safe.
No, I don't think he was. 2019. As Herald summoned up in the mid lane, should be able to crack down this tower. This actually gives GAM a lot of room to move around the map, which is always lovely to see.
A bit early for Dragon, though.
Yeah, it's very, very early, but I actually think it might have been timing out. He picked that up quite a fairly long time ago. They might just be taking the immediate goal to try and get a reset and maybe hit a big component somewhere. I don't think anyone's close enough to actually be completing a second item. We might be able to get a component in that makes a difference for the dragon fight.
I mean, GAM might have just completely relinquished control of the dragon for no reason. I mean, if it was timing out, okay, you have to use it, but they also overcommitted all their members. Now all their members are resetting, and the dragon is up in 15 seconds. You can see, look at the vision setup on the bottom river and bottom side jungle for SPTC. They have invaded and put on so much vision into GAM, it's not going to be easy to walk into Thresh and Aphelios freely, and Sejuani on top of that, with all that vision they have. So this dragon very much in favor of SPTC. We have white gun ready, not white and red, but white and blue is quite decent as well. So Vinboys can control this choke, as you can see, just putting down a turret there. They have to clear that out, take a bit of punishment here. This is not a bad setup for SPTC, and that's a soul point coming up right now.
Yeah, Dia1 actually just finished his second item as well. He TP'd back. So he's extremely strong on this rise. Not level 16, but still very strong regardless. The Hextech Drake has been engaged.
That's only on Palette.
Barrel goes in. Palette just goes gold. This is actually looking pretty dodgy from GAM at the moment as they're getting AoE down by the Aphelios. Levi will be the first to fall. Can they find anything on the backside? No, look,
Nope.
way, they've just been completely routed. And
Dial.
Big Boys is just cleaning.
Okay, Kiaya.
Style could get something on. Kiaya tries, but Kiaya fails. And Style has a world to conquer, but no army to do it with. And SE convincingly played that fight and moved to Soul Point.
Yeah, and think back to what I said in draft. You have all those heart engaged champion on the other side of the Cephalius Thresh. That usually does not bode well for you on the side of GAM, and this is exactly why. The Thresh Aphelios and Sejuani on top of that just establish a good front-to-back team fighting setup, and there's no way they can ever get to win, boys. There's so much AoE damage on the other side, and the initial engage from Kiaya was horrible. It was only on Palette. Look at this. Kiaya sees Palette, but what is that even doing? Palette didn't even have to go golden. Now, one of the main displacement tools is gone, and Vin Boys is just chilling on the other side of the fight. Full HP, gets to use all his weapons, gets to stack up his chakrams there as well. Yeah, and that was beautifully done. Oh, Palette. There was a flash E from Kiaya that could have really turned the fight again, because Kiaya has quite a bit of burst damage, but Palette with the perfect reaction to interrupt that E from Kiaya. And honestly, SE is looking like the big favorites to win map number 1.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Vid Boys is looking extremely strong. The Aphelios ready to go. So far, the Zeri not showing a huge amount in comparison. Cardi moving forward, does have the stun. They drop the Tibbers. Dia1 in a lot of trouble. Booted back. Can they kill him? I'm sure they can. As it takes a long time, though. Eventually, Rise will fall. Shutdown given over to Style. But that's 4 members committed, and they're just going to get 1 kill and an outer tower, so not terrible. But look what they're losing for it.
Could be 2 towers for SE, but they want to kill. Good disengage from Kiaya. Actually clearing the wave too, so now the tower is kind of hard to take.
Yeah.
Not bad.
You're not wrong. But an inner has gone down in the side lane. Enpa sort of unmatchable at the moment, particularly without Kiaya there. So more and more gold is just bleeding away from GAM. How do they staunch this wound? Can they staunch this wound?
So let's take a look at ADC itemization. The race for the arms race in the ADC department actually looks like it's in favor of Style, but of course the second item is much cheaper. Vin Boys with Bloodthirst already, which should come in on the next reset. There he is, he's resetting right now, so I'm expecting him to finish the Bloodthirster. Will be very high AD and good crit as well, 40% crit and very high AD. Maybe not the highest DPS, but very hard to kill, so that should set him up nicely for team fights, even more kiting power, even more staying power and sustain in the fights. But I feel like Zeri is the one champion we can look at to maybe turn this game around. We have so much setup for the Zeri as well. We still have a Lulu. We have Kati who can give a shield over to Zeri as well, which makes it very tanky. So if we can stall to Style next item, which definitely involves the next dragon, so that's the crucial fight for GAM. But I think if Style gets to IE, there's most definitely a chance for them to win this game.
Good dodge on the Ophelia assault, trying to follow up on Sejuani. This tower still standing in the mid lane. But all 5 members of GAM are here, and we can see the sneaky French woman down in the side lane. Enpa is not going to team fight if his life depended on it.
Why would he? No one can match him.
Yep.
This is AP Gragas. He can never even enter lane. He can only try to stay under tower and just get rid of the minions, but even that becomes risky after a while. He's not very tanky, and you have to be careful with the E, because of course there's parry. If you get parried, Palette.
Onto Palette, but managing to get away for now. Can't quite do it with the flay. TP coming in as Enpa, trying to find a flank, but it might be a little bit too late. That is
No
a good
card
pick,
healed now.
but a lot of things have been expended. But over a minute until the dragon, everything should come back up.
Okay, what do we use in terms of summoner spells? Palette Flash. That can be crucial, but shouldn't be the biggest deal.
Kiaya TP.
Kiaya TP is not. Yeah, I don't think it's that big right now because of 1 minute timer, so I don't think SPDC really has the time to reset up the lanes. They might be able to get away with a top lane tower, but they definitely want to fight for this dragon, so I don't think in this specific instance Kiaya TP is going to amount to that much of an advantage for SPDC. But on the other side, we didn't use any of the flashes. We did use Style Ultimate though, and I'm not sure if Style Ultimate is going to be available for the start of the Dragon fight. That is quite a concern, because without Ultimate, Zeri is only half a champion. So that's one of the cooldowns we have to keep our eyes on, ticking down slowly but surely.
I think it'll be close, but I do think it will be up in.
Yeah, it's looking like it's ticking away. Yeah.
So he should be able to be a full champion. In fact, Zeri with Ultimate is a bit more than a full champion, if you ask me. The Kane situation as a catch onto D&K. Levi, like he had a ward there. Playing with fire. Does manage to dodge it though.
Oh, the weapons are not great for Vinboys. He wants to get rid here of green at least. Here, he's spamming green. He needs one more Q to get rid of green. There it is. It's blue, and that's good counter dive, but not the biggest damage.
Kiaya taking a bit of damage. Sejuani ult has been used now. 7,000 health on the dragon. Enpa ready on a flank. Is seen on a ward. Paulette throws out the hook. Kiaya could be free to engage if he wants it. Cardi with a stun spooled up. Has Tibbers. Has Flash. He's a man to watch. If he can get anywhere near Vinboys, you know he'll pull the trigger. 5,000 health on the Dragon for that. There it is. They go in immediately onto Dia1. But he's tanky. I don't know if this was good target selection. There's the Zeri ultimate. Can he get that lightning whipping across the team? Levi forced out. Edpa going low. Edpa going down.
Red, white.
There we go. Moving forward. Red, white, as you said. But can he make them go good night? I don't know if he can. He can't. He goes down. And GAM are pushing forward. GAM are winning the fight. They do it with barely any health left, but they take down SBTC.
Can they do the Baron after this? They do have a lot of sustain on the Gragas. I think they can. Yeah, they have Lulu shields on Style. The Style can lifesteal off this wave a bit. There's a teleport. They are definitely going for the Baron. Yep. Just turned on its head the whole game, and this was the one fight they had to win. They had to stall one more dragon, and suddenly GAM is actually gonna win this whole situation and be in the lead after this exchange. I have to see how no one died. That was completely insane.
Yeah, like the fact that none of them died is absurd. There was some incredible spacing by GAM. We'll have to have a look in this replay.
Because actually the start for Vinboys looked super good. This is only two member Tibbers, and Dia1 is still half HP. So really good dodge there with Vinboys and Levi, but Enpa is staying in the backline too long. He goes down. We have red-white, which looks good, but then Kiai with the counter engage forces Vinboys back. He doesn't get to auto-attack much, and this was super close. Vinboys actually crits here on the crucial one, but doesn't get the last hit on Style. That could have been the kill on Style that might have given him a little bit of triumph feeling and so on. But not quite the damage. Vinboys just lacked the damage to cut them all down. He had the perfect weapon setup. He had very good space to kite back into, but just not enough DPS.
Yeah, as you said, this was the bloodthirster choice. You said exactly. Has a lot of staying power, has a lot of AD, but not necessarily the highest DPS. As GAM now with the Baron, with a gold lead, though a very small one for 28 minutes, or 27 minutes, I should say. This game is back to even, and even isn't where SBTC wants to be.
And now it is the Style show. The start of the game, no one cared about Style. It's the Zeri Lulu. They don't do anything for 20 minutes. But now it's the Style show. He's 3-1-3. He has 3 items ready. I hate his 3rd item, but whatever. I will never accept this item on Zeri. I just don't think it's that good. But it gives him more movement. It gives him more Ws, more ultimate cooldowns, and ultimate damage as well. So it's not bad. It's just I think IE is better. So he's quite strong right now. He can dance around the edges of the fight, and we just saw him dive onto Vinboys. He can do this even more right now. We also have more items on the Annie ready. Kiaya, we saw on the teamfights, was actually quite threatening. He's level 60 now, so his ultimate is up to 800, 900 damage. There's a lot to deal with on the side of SE, and suddenly GAM might actually be the favorites in the teamfights now.
Maybe. I still do think it will come down to a battle of the ADCs as you've been setting up. I think Vinboy still has a lot of potential on this Aphelios to blow people to Kingdom Come, especially once he gets that IE. It is going to be 2 towers now picked up for SE, traded on the bottom side for GAM.
Good
All
trade.
of the recalls coming in. Can they actually stop any recalls, potentially get it in here? No, they can't. And GAM will just back off.
I actually love the way SPTC played this. So aggressively on the map, even against Baron buff. They just completely ignored their bot side and got 2 towers for themselves, funneled gold into their carries, and the inhib didn't even fall. So that was really nicely judged from SBTC. Okay, they're going to lose another one in mid lane, but that's inevitable into Baron minions. So 2 for 2 in tower trades against Baron, against kind of the run of play. Really respectable from the side of SBTC.
Yeah, not bad at all. Pretty great even. As we do just have a moment to catch our breath as Baron buff has expired.
Alias has IE. That's good.
Huge.
That's the big one. Now he does have the damage. If they dive onto him, he should have the damage to execute all of them now.
We'll have to see. The tower's under siege. There's a lot of minions here to try and clear out. Enper doing what he can. White, blue at the moment. Not necessarily ideal. The Moonlight Vigil does miss as well.
I actually think white, blue, especially with Bloodthirster, is maybe even the highest DPS, because blue, of course, 110% damage on every single auto attack, and AoE does cut through everyone who's diving onto you. And red is mostly for stacked chakrams and lifesteal, of course, but when you already have lifesteal, blue can be a nice substitute. So I don't think white-blue is a bad choice here. Red-white is probably still better for single target damage into something like Kiai or Kati diving onto him, but if you look for AoE damage, white-blue might actually be the one you prefer.
Yeah, especially because the way GAM's team comp works is they're likely to be stacked on top of each other and just throwing a blue ultimate into them. If it crits, also does a hell of a lot of damage. Remember, release Aphelios. He who shall not be named. Dragon spawning, I think SE just isn't going to go near this one. Yep, they're not going to. They don't care. It's 1 Hextech Drake for GAM. They move up to 2 stacks. Doesn't matter. They just want more time to scale this Aphelios and scale a Rise as well.
I'm not actually sure if I like this call. They have 3 items on both of their main carries. They have 3 items on the top laner. Not sure if they get stronger in comparison to this point right now, especially with the next item for Star already in the making. So would have liked to see a little bit more of a contest there, but to be fair, they didn't have the vision set up to go into the river in the bot side, so maybe they just judged it too risky. DNK could try to face check, but even DNK goes down rather quickly, so it was a judicious choice to not go for it, but I would have liked a little bit more assertiveness to try and decide the game right there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I do think the argument being we have 2 very big late game threats, they have 1 exists though. So I don't necessarily hate the decision. I think I come down on the side of liking it, but I do see your point for sure. Speaking of items, looking at it is 3 on both of the mid laners, looking like going for the Morellos on Kati as a 4th item makes a lot of sense. Where is Dia 1 gonna go, do you think?
I'm a little bit confused as to why he's not trying to go for Rabadons here. He already has... I guess he wants penetration now, so this is probably going to go into the magic pen. Enper, where are you? Why are you over there? Did they see him? Oh, they didn't actually see him. He still has the flank. Now, your flank is not quite as potent, so he's just going to go back to bot lane, but he did have the nice positioning there. Yeah.
But now GAM with full control, aside from this 1 control ward, which will get found and cleared fairly quickly, I imagine. Around this topside river and around the Baron, it's the only big objective that's up for the next 3 minutes. Are GAM going to pull the trigger and actually force something here?
They do have decent disengage, right? They have Levi kick, they have Kiaya ultimate, so they could actually just force the Baron and then kick away any onlookers. They even have Kati to disrate some of the advancement, but we have an engage from SBTC side.
Over the wall he goes, but a good flash there from Paulette completely denies the engage. Doesn't quite land the hook after the stopwatch. So Levi is able to sneak away, but takes a lot of his health and burns his stopwatch.
That's so unfortunate. That would have been a secure, like, a 100% kill into Baron setup for SPTC. Now they have to defend against Baron. GAM on a timer though. Kati is trying to guard them, trying to ward them off here. Has the stun and ultimate ready.
Yep, there they go. Kiaya throws himself in, but it's Vin, boys. Doesn't have great guns.
Oh!
Oh, baby! Burning them down, anyway, as SE fire back, GAM can win one team fight, but SE will win the next as they clean them off the map.
What a move from this still rookie ADC, just gale forcing into all of them, and then the flames came spitting at them, ultimate into auto attacks, and as we said earlier, Blue Gun can teamfight quite well as well, and that was the number one evidence for that. Holy, that was so much damage. I would like to see the damage charts for the one team fight, because Vinboys just deleted
think we will, because
them.
the game's going to end.
Yep.
And with that huge play out of Vinboys, he's put GAM in the bin, boys. They take map 1. They are in the lead against the 5-0 GAM.
What an execution, the last team fight. I was worrying that this would evolve into one more game of GAM, trolling the mid game and then still getting away with the victory, as we have seen a few times, especially in the early weeks. But nope, SBCC has come to play. And this is yet another roster iteration, this time with Winboys ADC and DNK Jungle, and I think it worked to a T. Both of them performed really nicely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DNK did exactly what DNK does. He was Mr. Consistent, he was just there, being a tank, doing Sejuani stuff. And Vinboys just looked absolutely fantastic, doing 21,000 damage, highest in the game. I mean, I think that damage number undersells the impact he really had.
Yeah, Aphelios usually doesn't have quite the highest spikes. Like, he deals damage in team fights, but not so much in lane, like or in poke, like Varus or Ezreal. But that's still very respectable damage. We can also see top lane huge impact on both sides. I feel like 18.8k damage from Fiora, who actually came down to team fight quite a bit, is more than respectable for Emper. He had some questionable moves, but also some really good solo kills here and there. So I wasn't the biggest fan of R5 Fiora, but he made it work. Emper Fiora is scary.
It sure is. And with that, we're going to go calm our nerves, get rid of that spooky Fiora, and take a 5-minute break. We'll be back very, very soon for Game 2 of GAM taking on SE. SE currently leading 1-0. This is VCS English. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and it's the year of the Vin boys, as that Aphelios absolutely brought the moon down on GAM. It was a back and forth game. It looked like both teams had their chances to win, but in the end, it was the SBTC ADC that dragged them, kicking and screaming over the line. And now with a 1-0 lead, your way, can they do it? Can they close this one out and send GAM to 5-1?
Well, so far no one has been able to do it. Maybe SPTC is the first time. I wouldn't favor them. I still think it's more likely for GAM to win 2 games back-to-back than for SPTC to win 1 game against GAM. As bad as that sounds, I still feel like GAM, the skill ceiling of this GAM roster should, on almost every day, just be too much to overcome for SPTC. But honestly, I think the one attacking point is this bot lane. Not in terms of laning phase. I think laning phase is just gonna be a trait again, but maybe you can outperform them in team fights. And GAM is a team that doesn't really always go for good team fighting compositions. They like to play with a lot of agency on all their individual members, and usually those compositions don't come together as the most united, purposeful kind of composition, right? They're still super good at executing them, but as we saw in the last game, if you just go front to back into them, even with Fiora as a front line, it's very hard to penetrate into the backline and isolate the ADC. So, if anything, this could be the approach, the Cerberus approach. Just play front to back, play the most standard style of team fighting. Cerberus won a title against GAM, maybe SPTC can win a series.
Maybe. Look, going lossless is very, very difficult. So the number one loss has to come from somewhere, and into draft we go. Jace, Renekton, Varus, Fiora, Tristana removed. Enpa not getting that Fiora again. GAM's sick of it.
Yep, I think that's a good choice. Kiaya has actually shown quite a bit of problems into Fiora in the laning phase. He got solo killed by Yoshino a few times too, so just remove that. I know it's a little bit of probably a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be the best top laner. He probably still is the best top laner, but his laning phase this year so far has been sketchy now and then. I think his team fighting has been amazing, especially on things like Jace, but maybe just get rid of the Emperor's best champions and play a standard top lane game and then just outperform him in team fights. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me for sure. First pick Sejuani, DNK looked pretty good on it. Wouldn't blame him at all. Just locking that one away again. Do you want to see GAM running a similar comp here, or do you need to see them changing things up?
I feel like Lee Sin is open and Levi's on the team, so it's very likely going to be on the side of GAM again, but maybe Hanke has a good leash on them. That's honestly going to be the most interesting thing to see here. How much of the draft is in control of Hanke and how much on Levi? Of course, that's conjecture, but still, looks like Levi.
I think you're wrong.
Looks like Levi's going back to his best performing champion. 6 games on Wukong, and he has looked incredible on this champion. He has even had a verse in our infamous rap about the Wukong, so everyone knows about this one. And he has been quite good in team fights in early game. I think this Wukong is a good adaptation. Better team fighting, still a lot of playmaking, maybe not quite as strong of an invade and early game ganker and skirmisher, but still strong enough to compete.
Yeah, and taking away the Nautilus as well was banned in Game 1 by SE, so GAM looking like they're going for a very different, a different team comp. Xayah Rakan, the Lovers lane, just going to be snapped up. That is a strong bot lane, and you said that was the potential power point for SE.
Yeah, we've seen the rise of Rakan back to meta. He has been... This could be interesting. Let's wait for the hover. Kati is one of the people who would play this, but play Aurelion instead. But this bot lane has...
Put him in the cage.
Ooh, it's locked in! It's locked in! Okay, Rakan hates his life. As someone who played a lot of Rakan back in the day, Rakan into Veigar is just... You want to just leave the game. It's not really playable. It's really annoying to play. The cage just locks you out of playing the game. If you ever overstep, you insta-die, because Rakan is quite squishy, of course. So this is a nice counter into their engage composition. Rakan, I think Veigar is also quite good into the likes of honestly both of the other champions, because Sejuani can't as easily follow up. Veiga has a lot of single target damage, even against a tank like Sejuani. And then Zarya just doesn't have the range to really maneuver around the Veiga E. She's not gonna die to him, but can she hit anyone when there's a Veiga E between her and the enemy team? So I really like this pick. It got buffed big time. Could still be actually a bot laner too. I feel like Style is certainly one to play the Veiga. He already had the Ziggs game earlier the split, so this is still a flex.
Yeah. I think that does make a lot of sense. And like Veigar's this champion that's kind of just quietly completely broken and just has been for a really long time.
Yeah, it is quite broken.
Like his E is just absurd. Veigar mains must sweat every time he gets picked in pro because Riot might notice.
Well, they literally just buffed him the other patch, so he's even better now.
Like his E, like, is Veigar E the best basic ability in the game?
It has to be up there. Oh, and it is bot lane. Let's go.
It is bot lane. Let's go.
I like Style for this. Style is the most flexible ADC. He might not be the best laning ADC, but he has all the mage champions in this pool. He learns champions insanely quickly, and he always provides so much value. Yes, Aurelion Sol. Yes. No, not Azir. Aurelion Sol, please. Yeah, he learns champions so quickly. He's a very flexible player, and that's exactly what GAM wants. We know their top side is insane, but Style, honestly, to me, in the last 2 years, has really just stood up and shown everyone that he is the perfect ADC for this team too. I don't think they would trade for Artemis or Shogun because Style fits their team better.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think that's something we've sort of been saying about GAM for such a long time, is that Style just fits them really well. Gwen locked in for Enpo, and they're considering the Galio for Tier 1. Okay, they locked that in. Galio into Veigar sounds really painful.
Yeah, I just thought the same. My god. They all hate playing into Veigar. That is a little bit of a concern for the side of SBTC. Ouya, GP. Give me GP for even more zoning. How do you play into this team composition if that's a GP?
I mean, GP would be absolutely disgusting, but I think they will just go the nah, yeah, they've locked that in. I think that's fine. Like, Kiaya is a fantastic nah player, just something that just is a bit of beef on the front side that can kind of go in with the Wukong to back him up. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I don't mind the nah. I think Kiaya, as you said, is probably the best nah of all time in the VCS, so always a standard champion. Also, nah, ultimate into Veigar Cage. I like to see that.
Yep.
On interaction. For the enemy team, not so much. But yeah, this Veigar got me hyped. I am in love with this bot lane for the side of Style and Xin. And let's see how Style does.
Yeah, you're in such a tricky situation playing that Lovers lane. That makes you want to play more aggressive on Rakan because of the enhanced E range, but you just can't because Baby Cage exists.
Yeah, so Rakan does have an opening, right? If Veigar ever oversteps and uses E badly, maybe the Rakan can actually engage on him. But then there's also the Nautilus. So if you play your cards correctly, the enemy team should never be able to hit you. Veigar outranges Zarya by quite a bit, and Nautilus can really just block all the Rakan engages. So I feel like they should get the push. Now, the one problem with Veigar into ADCs, of course, is his auto attacks come out very slowly. So if Zarya just presses W and just uses her feathers to push the wave instantly, Veigar might be pushed on the tower. So that's the one concern, but in terms of trading, I don't really see an opening for Zarya Rakan. But we see the Rift, so let's head onto the Rift.
Onto the Rift we go. It is game 2 of GAM versus SE. SE currently in the lead, but it's GAM that have come back with something that Hankei's been brewing up in whatever dark cave he lives in. With a Veigar bot lane. I love.
Conquer Arise. Okay, Carty.
Okay. Last Stand as well.
Okay, Conqueror Rise makes a lot of sense to me, actually, especially into double melee champion mid-jungle. So, DR1 and DNK are going to get close. there are even more melee champs, and honestly, everyone is close range, so Carti should have a very easy time stacking up that Conqueror, and that makes him even stronger, gives him more AP, gives him more sustain, of course, so I like this choice. It's very unusual. I don't think I've ever seen a Conqueror Rise before, but I like this adaptation. Carti showing his flexibility there.
We'll see. It's definitely an interesting decision. Looking up at this top side as Enper gets a good trade here. How do you think this Gwen plays into this competition? Of course, is pretty good against Veigar. Ooh, hang on, we'll have to come back to it. Xin getting traded on a little bit. But as I was saying, Gwen often can walk through the baby cage.
Yeah, Gwen is the one champion the Veigar probably has to be very careful about, but then again, there's so much CC on the other team still afterwards. The Gnar ultimate, Levi's ultimate, Carti's stun, then auto-attacking him into even just walking into the Hallowed Mist, and just
Yep.
and just stunning him there. So I feel like the Gwen does have a nice opening for side laning. I don't think anyone can really match her later on in the game. It's very risky with Ryze. It's very risky with Mini Gnar, especially. So maybe the side laning is the opening for Enper. He had some really good split pushing opportunities in the last game. Team fights will be hard to play, but maybe the one champion that can penetrate into the baby cage and kill Style.
Yeah, we do see Style being pushed in at the moment. Everything we've been talking about is, of course, rely on him having his E. Something he does not have at level 1, of course. Levi, on the invade, has found his way around the backside and is stealing away Enper's blue buff.
Yeah, in the meantime, DNK is just camping in top lane, does have the angle.
Blue buff, I of course mean DNK. Good prediction there with that flash adjust. Kiaya going low, Kiaya going down. It's a repeat of game 1.
Yeah, Enper with the first blood, and this Gwen, they are playing so heavily around topside, it makes a lot of sense, right? Enemy team has a Veigar Nautilus bot lane, nothing is ever going to come of that, so just push around Enper into Kiaya, and last game, that worked quite well in the early game. Just to repeat, DNK sacrificed quite a bit of pathing for this one, but he got the kill, so all good. We have catch-up experience still on this patch, so he should be fine, just chilling in his jungle with the remainder of his jungle camps available.
This is really well played by DNK.
Yeah, very good flash there to follow on Kiaya's flash. Kiaya only has one place to flash, and usually the Gnar wants to hop over someone and then flash to his tower, but the angle was such that he couldn't really hop onto anything, so very nicely done. Just good angle found by DNK. He spent a lot of time in that bush just waiting for Kiaya to reposition, and the caging begins. Oh no.
Yeah, Style using an evil skin for it as well. I can never see the edge of the cage in that one, though that is probably due to the fact that I'm very much blind. The one difference here this time with that topside gank is that Levi has stolen away a blue buff. So DNK has actually been set fairly far behind, at least to his opposite number.
Yeah, but it's Sejuani, so does she care? Does she really care? She's level 4 still, so He's almost double her CS and on the same level. Yeah, nice job, right? Thanks for jungling.
Jungle XP, woo! They've been trying for like 4 seasons to fix it.
Literally double CS right now.
Just do the Valve solution and just delete the jungle. Or delete junglers, rather.
Hopefully it's going to get better next patch. They tried something there, so we're going to see probably next week, 13.5, when that comes in, some changes to the jungle environment. Maybe that's in 2 weeks, but nevertheless, right now it's still Sejuani heaven. She can just chill and gank permanently, and here she goes again.
Yep, Carti does manage to stop that last proc, even without the phase rush. Moving forward, a lot of speed here. Has Levi backing him up if there's a re-engage, but he's just going to move forward, make sure he can continue pushing these minions into the tower, keep making DR1's life hard.
There you saw how quickly Carti can stack up his Conqueror. He went to Conqueror after like 1 turn onto the 2 champions, so this is going to be something I want to keep my eyes on in the late game. How much power does Conqueror give him, realistically? Because he does sacrifice a little bit of laning phase and some aspects, like a little bit of movement speed, a little bit of team fighting repositioning for pure power and damage. So it has to pay off in the late game with just an even stronger rise.
It does, but it will be GAM picking themselves up this first dragon. The positioning just works out for them. Levi able to secure that one. So a Hextech Drake secured. A Mountain Drake will be next on the chopping block in about 5 minutes. Enpa, complete control. DNK is just sitting up here and making this Nah suffer.
Yeah, they're sacrificing so much of DNK. He's still level 4. Levi should hit level 6 very, very shortly. But they're sacrificing his entire game for Enpa. But now Kati's here. Uh-oh.
Kati coming in. They land the cage onto Enpa, but he's too quick. That's a very short Realm Warp. It's not going to get them far enough. Enpa can just ghost away.
Enpa just walked back to lane and got the minions. Enpa is such a Chad. Holy. He just didn't even care. He knew he was out there and just walked back to his farm, threw one more ultimate at the minions and collected, I think, almost all the minions there. So very calm and collected play from Enpa, just using one summoner spell, walking away. He got the plating earlier on, but still, once again, I have to say, DNK sacrificed so much time. Look at the CS in the jungle. Now it's starting to get really dangerous, because he's 2 levels behind Levi. If Levi ever manages to isolate DNK, he's just gonna die. He's just insta-gipping that Sejuani.
But yeah, I mean, it's also just worth saying, Kati burnt his flash in that play. So this Rise, no flash, no phase rush, potentially is in a lot of trouble against a Galio Sejuani, even a Sejuani that is this far behind. So could work out in DNK's favour in the long run. So we just have another look at the ball lane. Paulette, he's playing forward, does try and go in, gets hooked, gets caged. Yeah, have fun, mate.
Oh, it's so painful to watch. Oh my god. As a Rakan enthusiast, this is not the game you want to play. This is so painful to watch. He does have the late game opportunity, hopefully, to go deep into the enemy jungle and maybe come from an unexpected angle where Style can't ward him off with a cage. But just in straight up, if everything is visible, if there's no flank involved, then Rakan just can't play the game. It's so easy to react to Style, and honestly, for Style, and Style's movement just to dodge those grand entrances has been amazing too. Like, just this little side steps, just this mechanical execution there, quite impressive from this Viger.
Yeah, he's looked good. It's practiced, which we love to see. Of course, can't actually take lane prio against Xayah Rakan, as much as we've talked about it being a hard counter, which it is. He is still going to get pushed under tower. He is still just farming up slowly.
He's even, though.
Vinboys has gone for the cull. Yeah, they're just playing it even. Cull is there, so Vinboys will eventually get something.
Yeah, it's going as expected. There's no way for Xayah Rakan to ever go for kills, but they do have the push, because Xayah has perma-push with her feathers, piercing through the minions, while everything for Style is just single target but W. But you don't really want to use W, because then you can't last it with Q, so honestly, Viger is more than fine just sitting under his tower and using his Q to stack up, so he doesn't really need lane priority. He's also a little bit of a frail champion, so opening up himself to get ganked is dangerous, even into something, even with a Nautilus and his own cage as protection, so I feel like sacrificing a little bit of lane control just for better stacking and safety is a very good choice by Style.
Herald dropped in the mid lane here. Not synced up with any dragon, but Paulette forced away. There should just be some gold given over to Kati. No, it all goes to Levi.
Not the greatest.
So, not the best ever there.
It's Wukong, though. He does scale with gold quite nicely.
Kiaya in trouble. There are needles going out, but he manages to just walk away. Did burn his flash, though.
Another gang for DNK in top lane. Let's take another look at the CS in jungle. It's up to 25 now. Levi with 50% more. Okay.
Oh, hang on a minute. Style! Caught out. Taken down.
It's not supposed to happen, Style. Of course, he doesn't have a defensive summoner. He does have TP, which means he can probably protect the tower. But that's a kill for Vinboys, and this bodes well for the late game chances.
It sure does. Emperor managing to clear out the wave there. The safety of the Hallowed Mist. Doing well, but this should still be GAM moving in, taking a plate or two before SE has a chance to reinforce this top side. As you said, there was a TP for Style in the bottom side, so not actually going to be an even trade in terms of tower damage.
A little bit of an awkward gold split though, and this is just double flash invested to get on top of Style. This time the Nautilus is not here to protect him. I think he probably used his cage as well too early. If he caged under tower, that could have been a counter kill, but this time Style gets caught out, and for the first time, this very immobile champion is defeated and is actually killed. Dahl didn't lose too much, but the kill over to Vinboys will accelerate his item build towards 2 items, which is the sweet spot right now for Xayah. When you got your Mythic plus Navori, you are so strong in the early team fight. So SE looking pretty in this game, but Stahl is not out of it either.
Yeah, Cardi doing well, just keeping himself safe against 2 members in his lane. It's Kiaya still just getting absolutely... Look who's here! This is the kind of game. If I was Kiaya in solo queue, I'd be going insane. As a Galio ult is committed as well. Carti realm warps his way up here, but he can't even help.
And Kiaya honestly is just keeping up well. Oh, he has the Mega now. He's trying to counter.
Has Mega, gets a wallop, but he's just going to get cut down. That was a silly play.
I just wanted to praise him for being playing so far back and still keeping up in CS, and then he just ins away. The cast occurs before I could even speak. Just the mental cast occurs, I guess. But Kiaya, unfortunately, goes down again. Kill over to Galio. But, of course, platings and more gold into the pockets of Enpo, who's the main carry. But we have another engagement bot lane.
They go. The cage is on cooldown. He's bound up. Can they take him down? Vinboys needs a little bit more. Oh, no, your way. Oh, it's a disaster.
No. Oh, why would you dive the Viger? No. They got too confident after the last one, but the last one wasn't under turret the whole time, and he didn't have cage. This time he did have cage, he was under tower. It's a horror. It's 2 kills over to Viger, and look at what he just got there. He got his
13-minute rower.
He got his rower and the components for his next item. This is just too deep. And honestly, Vinboys just should use ultimate so much earlier. Ult has so much damage nowadays, and you get 5 feathers. If he uses ult at the start of the fight, he gets the kill easily. They probably get to evacuate without even losing a kill. Yeah, so I think Vinboys played it quite badly. He didn't utilize his ultimate as an aggressive tool, just used it to dodge the tower aggro. So a little bit of old Xayah play when the ult used to deal 100 damage and no one played it for the damage. But nowadays, ult actually deals quite a bit of damage. So misplay by Vinboys, over-aggressive play overall for SPDC bot lane, and out of nowhere, Stahl is back into the game.
This is... Oh, my word. That was a play that will go down in history.
It was
alongside such greats as Neven and Paulette again on Rakan.
Oh no, Paulette Rakan. Oh no.
My favorite clip. But checking back in, all of that time for DNK has led to a fairly big lead for Empo as he finishes his Riftmaker. Kiaya still just on a half-bound axe, which is barely even a real item. So this Gnar is very, very weak. But how much does that matter when GAM can just chill and let both of their rowers stack? And they got the first 2 dragons, so they're in absolutely no rush.
Yeah, the problem for SPDC is how to transition this top lane lead into actually winning this game, right? As you pointed out, is this gonna matter in team fights? Probably not so much. Maybe they actually get the drop on Kiaya, but Kiaya is usually very good at positioning his Gnar and stacking up his Gnar bar, and Mega Gnar, even from behind, is a little too tanky to one-shot him. On the other hand, though, Enpa is super far ahead, so side laning should actually yield good results now. You can see he's already cutting down some of the turrets. So, if anything, SPDC is gonna try to hard play split push. The problem is, as you pointed out, 2 dragons already under GAM's belt, so they kind of have to contest the next dragon. That's really gonna be one of the big turning points of the whole game, or one of the big points we have to examine to see if they have a chance, because 1 item done for most of their carries, I'm not sure if it's enough into all the zoning tools for GAM.
We'll have to see. On the other hand, GAM could opt to just not contest this dragon. Buy themselves 5 minutes for this Vega for this Rise. I think they just have so many options. So much flexibility in how they want to approach the game. We'll have to find out just how they want to do it. Knowing GAM, they're going to contest this dragon.
Vinboys items. Okay, SPTC lose.
Is a Zeal that terrifying your way?
Yes. Zeal on Zarya is an insta-loss. If you build Zeal on Zarya, you should be benched. This is not a legal item on this patch. I'm not sure when was the last time the Vin boys had time to go into patch notes, but Zeal on Zarya, no.
Tier 1 nearly going down there to Kati. Couldn't quite get the last overload. As item builds seem to have overloaded my co-caster.
This is so insane. This is just insane to me. Like, this is so lazy. I don't understand how this can happen. This is really egregious because Zarya is such an insanely strong champion on this patch. A lot of people, especially some of the interviews I've seen from EU people say, or even NA people say, Zarya is the strongest champion on 13.4, the strongest ADC. And one of the reasons she is so strong is her 2 item power spikes earlier than ever before in Zarya's history. She has always been amazing in team fights and in keeping safe, dealing a lot of damage. And with Navori, she's even better, and she spikes on 2 items. So why would you build Zeal and not Navori? Now, this Navori is so delayed, and the Zeal doesn't really do anything for you either. It's a horror.
Rift Herald will get its charge off. A hook going in onto DNK as well. He gets a lot of distance. Dia1 in trouble, knocked up by Cyclone, but does flash over the wall. Now Enpa has a flank, but I don't think his team has the health bar to really support him. He's just trying to get out of there, kind of cut the wave a little bit as Kiaya goes Mega. Dragon on the map, and GAM with that little skirmish win, flashes blown. They're just going to pick this up for free, I think.
Yaya's running out of Mega.
Let them.
Yaya's running out of Mega. They have an opportunity to fight here. DNK is super low, though. Oh, no, DNK.
Yeah, he's getting zoned. Enpa moving forward. Ultimate going. In they go. Onto Paulette. They will pick up the first 2 kills. That's pretty huge. SE could get over the line here. Wukong on top of Enpa. Can he get him? He can. Paulette doesn't quite time that W well enough. Gets away with the blast plant. Kati still lurking around, but SE have the health bars. I don't think Levi can get close enough in time. Can he with an E? And he gets the smite. Pays for it with his life, but I don't think he cares. That's now soul point secured for GAM. Kiaya gets away as well, and it's a messy, scrappy little play. And I'm not even sure who comes out ahead. Yeah,
I can't tell you either. It was so good from SBTC until the last second where they... Why would they commit to the dragon without smite? But why? You can just reset. You've won this situation. Just wait for DNK to reset and join you. It was so over-greedy for GAM. Their positioning is horrible. They just get caught by a beautiful, beautiful engage from the Dia1, honestly. Double stun on the bot lane. And we talked so much about their setup for team fights, but if they don't have the time, they play this overly greedily around the dragon, then they can't set up their better lines. Kiaya didn't have Mega Gnar, and they just overcommitted, and this is the cardinal sin. Why would they start the dragon again? Okay, they get the kill on Levi, but they can't transition it into Baron. If you kill Levi into Baron, then this plays okay, but just 1 kill for the dragon, which is soul point, so you have to fight in 5 minutes again, is not good enough. SBDC still win the situation, I'd say. They still get a decent lead, but now they once again have to go there in 5 minutes. If anything goes wrong, if anyone dies in 4.5 minutes, then they probably lose the game to this one mistake. It's so infuriating, but for now, SBDC seems to be the better team fighting team on the day.
This is a very, very strange game your way, as we have this extremely strong Gwen that is very much struggling to bring that power to bear. A 4-1 Xayah, but with a Phantom Dancer, is a couple thousand gold behind the curve just due to a poor decision.
Yeah, but if she gets to auto-attack freely, it's not that bad of an item, right? The thing is, she shouldn't try to play for that, especially into something like Veigar. She should try to play for feathers and feather calls, but honestly, if GAM overstack around the dragon and don't care about the battle line, she gets to auto-attack, so actually saved by the enemy team's greed, her decision in terms of itemization. So, yeah, Vinboy's getting bailed out by the enemy team. Good to see. Thank you very much, GAM. But he still should go for Navori now to amp his power even more. And honestly, the enemy team is not super tanky. The top laner is a Gnar without any armor so far, so he doesn't really need the penetration. So Vinboy's His itemization is not the best, but he kind of got lucky. If the enemy team had a hard tank, he would have had to go for armor pen here, but he's not forced to do that, so he can go third item Navori.
The thing I'm worried about your way is that I think in 2 minutes, when this next dragon spawns, we are faced with a, probably a 2.5 item Vigar and a 2 item Rise that SE have to find a way to fight in. If GAM is lazy again and don't set up their battle lines as we did see before, then SE can make it happen. But if GAM knuckle down, work out how they want to team fight, it's very, very hard.
That's exactly why giving up the dragon could really come back to bite them, especially if they overpush on the side lane and die right before the dragon spawns, which is not now, but Enpa is going to die here, most likely.
He can zoop over the wall.
Double flash!
Follow? Double flash, okay.
Not sure if that's worth it, honestly. Look at the time. That's double flash, 1.5 minutes before the dragon spawns, so that's a lot committed. Levi is going to have a very hard time following up on Vinboys, whose flash should be ready by then. So this is a questionable decision, a little bit of overhype once again for GAM. They just seem to be too thirsty for kills today.
Yeah, a little bit, and just Levi flash. I just don't think Kiaya needs to.
Yeah, absolutely not, yeah. Levi flash, but even investing Levi flash there, honestly, if you're really cynical about the game, you could make the decision to say, we got his ghost, we don't kill him here, this is actually better for us for the dragon fight. But that's kind of hard to make the decision on the fly. You want the kill, right? You see the kill, you know you can kill him if you flash. You really want to do it, but maybe if you're a coach sitting on the backlines, you would say, don't actually flash here. It doesn't matter if we kill him here because the dragon is coming up in 1.5 minutes. We want to have our flashes for that situation. Instead, now, double flash down for the top side. No flash on Gnar, no flash ultimate engage for him, and no flash ultimate engage from Levi.
There's a lot of tools gone, but it is a 2 item Rise. It is a 2 item Veigar. I think that's very difficult.
It's not level 60.
Does Carty
engage from SPC risky.
Ult, they go in, the cage is good. They immediately blow up Paulette. There's a lot of damage being done from Enpa. Can he get it done? He can't. 1 kill has come in for SE, but they're all falling away. Vinboy slashing away. Lovely pull of the feathers. Dia1 in trouble. The realms are being warped. They're going in. They want to clip this bird's wings. Can they get close enough? Kiaya bearing down on them. Can he throw a rock? He can, but a good snare. Cardi finishes him off. DNK, the only man left alive. And GAM are the ones to come out on top of the fight. They will claim themselves an Infernal Soul. Ooh, actually, it's a little bit risky with Levi dead if DNK can play Solid Snake.
Last time the jungler walked in on 2 HP and got the dragon, but...
No, they know where he is.
Yeah, GAM plays it much more
he
safely.
Can do. Yeah, that is Infernal Soul secured for GAM. And with their late game threats, it might just be insurmountable.
Yeah, and think back 5 minutes ago, they had the teamfight won, they could have just waited for the dragon. Instead, they threw away dragon number 3, dragon number 4, GAM wins the teamfight, they get the soul, and honestly, this is just a really bad decision. You should not go in on this team. We talked so much about the Vigar disengage, about all the tools in their arsenal, and the engage can never work. Look at the 2 carries on the side of GAM. They have full HP even after this. Kiaya started as his mini Gnar and gets to Mega at the end of the fight. Vinboys has to dance around the fight so much just to kill 2 of the frontliners. He used all his summoner spells just for 2 kills, but the main carries are still alive, so he didn't even actually achieve anything. Huge shutdown for Carty. SBTC make a horrible decision to engage onto a Vigar composition instead of just waiting for them to come into them. And now the game might be lost. GAM definitely in a better position here.
They absolutely are. There's the Sejuani ult going in only onto Zin. He hooks in Paulette. Enpa on the backside trying to get something done. Is dealing a lot of damage, but goes down. Now it's all on Vinboys. Can he find anything? He's still alive. He's on 10 health. He goes down. Finally, it is Cardi cleaning him up. Dia1 lives on a sliver of HP. DNK alive as well. They do stop GAM getting the Baron.
But
still, these late game threats.
Yeah. And look at Carty. Usually we don't see Rises be able to really do that much damage in fights, but because usually he's outranged. And Rise nowadays is much more about like laney face and snowballing side lanes, but this is a team fighting Rise game where he just gets to hit all the time because everyone is low range. Everyone is walking into him, and this is Conqueror Rise stacking up, dealing so much damage. Look at Kati's full HP, and look at all those crits, all those magic crits hitting them. That is Vin, boys, an ADC that is very far ahead, getting almost one shot by the Rise with no chance of ever hitting his damage. So Party on the back end of this, or a back half, I should say, of this game, really showing up on the Rise. I'm surprised that he didn't have the highest damage, but that is Veigar also scaling into a big threat in the late game.
Yeah, look at these damage numbers. And I think this is just coming down to GAM doing a little bit too well at splitting the lines from SE. Enper is dealing a whole lot of damage, but he's sort of just completely blowing everything and then going down. DNK in trouble, throws out an ultimate, but just gets absolutely destroyed. Caught out of position and sent to the death chamber. Tier 1, I should say, not DNK.
Oh,
DNK getting actually away, playing that a lot better, but they can't stop GAM getting Baron. They'll take the consolation prize of a mid tower, but that's going to be all they can get.
yeah, it's looking very doomed right now for SPTC. They just don't have the tools to get onto the enemy targets. They don't have the tools to kill the Rise. They don't have the tools to kill Style. Nowhere close. And now with Inferno Soul, with all the extra scaling, think about this. We have double Rod of Ages.
They might get corralled here.
Yeah, they have a tower, but this tower is low. GAM, they might have to be careful. All of the enemies are full HP. This is a little dangerous for GAM. They don't have a wave. Probably just back off, use your Baron, reset. There's no need to throw this game away, especially when you're 0-1 down. Remember, SPTC actually won game 1, so GAM should probably play this a little bit safer. But yeah, all the added scaling, double Rot, double Seraphs, and double 2 Dragons behind that as well. Those AP carries are probably sitting at something like 500, 600 AP, especially the Veigar. Once he finishes his Rabadons, we are probably going to see 4-digit AP numbers. I don't know his stacks right now, but that's what I would expect at 27 minutes. So I don't see a way SPTC can compete with the damage.
No, it would really take a miracle. They almost have to start playing like a pit comp, but GAM is just, I don't think, going to give them that opportunity. Cardi just realm warping away. Paulette can't get close enough.
And look at Anpa, he's been overgrouping just to try and bail his team out, and now he's only level 14.
750 AP pre-Rabadons.
Yeah, 266 stacks. That's five times this W cooldown reduced by 10%. So that W cooldown is probably on 2 seconds or 3 seconds right now. Gonna go down even more later. So I want to see Style hit 1000. That's always the exciting point, where you can just one-shot whoever is in front of him. DNK, full tank, he doesn't care.
No, he is the tiny master of evil, but he does have to flash away, as there was a decent attempt there from DNK. Paulette tries to follow up on it. Zin's in a lot of trouble, but finds a flash over the wall. And now in comes Levi. Massive Cyclone in the backside. Galio will buy them some space, but they go in and they've assassinated Vinboys. And without Vinboys, SE are without much of a hope. Lovely stuff from Kiaya, ulting 2 of them into the wall. DNK burning down. They just live. No, goes down to the Nautilus. Paulette will fall as well. Enpa, last man standing. And your way, we are headed for a game 3 as GAM brings us to 1-1.
That we are. GAM is ruthless. Once they see an opportunity, once they're even in the game, it just feels like the game's instantly over. Against Secret, it was an even game, 22 minutes, they break into the base, they insta-finish the game. This happens here once again. SPTC fought valiantly. I think this game was mostly lost in draft, honestly, but GAM with good team fighting to get back out of a hole, which looked quite dangerous for them after that dragon fight. Almost lost the game there. But they found the way to win it. And now GAM, 1-on-1. They bounce back with the Veigar pick. I want to see more spicy stuff in the bot lane. GAM finally alive today.
That they are. And we'll see if SE will be able to fight back and take the third. Or will it be GAM moving to 6-0? Oh, we're not ready. Sorry.
We do have this lovely little graphic here to bring up.
Of course, we should talk about this. You're right.
We have
Vidboy is actually dealing more damage than Style. I guess that does make sense. His damage is a bit more consistent compared to just the hard burst. But look at Carty.
Yeah, this is really a remarkable Rice performance because Rice so often just doesn't get to actually attack, right? So often he has the damage on his items, he has so much damage on his Q, but he never gets to actually use it. This was Conqueror Rice from the get-go. Carti knew, this team cannot threaten me, they cannot dive on me, I am free to fire away, and did just that. Highest damage in the game. Honestly, also surprised by 15.6k damage from the jungler. That is quite remarkable from Levi as well.
Very much is. But with that, we will actually be going to a little break before game 3 of SE vs GAM. A banger for the VCS, a banger for the fans, and a banger for us. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. It's been 2 very good games so far, and we are at 1-1. GAM won game 2. They looked pretty dominant as well, with a late game scaling comp, including a Vigar in the bot lane. Definitely something that their coaches, Hunke, have been brewing up, and we love to see that kind of thing. Now, your way going into game 3, are you still confident in a GAM win?
Yeah, they haven't looked good today, but it's good enough to beat SPDC more often than not. I feel like it is dangerous. It's just one game. One best of one could always go wrong. Like, they could lose today. It's not out of the question, but I feel like in terms of drafting and diversity, overall performance, they are all favored in all those aspects. So it's all adding up to be like a 70, 75, 80% win. But 20% can happen. So yeah, we still have to play the game, but I feel like GAM has now come back together. They're probably going to outdraft again. My biggest confidence right now in GAM is actually their flexibility in draft, because I feel like they've looked incredible in draft adaptations, and just they have so much potential on all their players, especially Style with the Ziggs, with the Vigar. It's super hard to outdraft them.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we've been talking about how the one point of power that SPTC might have is this bot lane. Like, they might be able to break open the GAM bot lane, but how can you do that when you don't know what the hell they're going to play? Because Style is absolutely no slouch on the meta ADCs, but you also just have the absolute length and breadth of all of these AP champions that he can also play. How do you even approach that in draft?
Let's see how they do it, because we already have draft on screen. We have 2 ADC bans for the side of GAM, which are Tristana and Kalista, so very strong laning AD carries, taken away from DR1 and Slater. Slater is back in, by the way. We have Slater instead of Vinboys, which is... Interesting decision after Vinboy's game 1. Okay, game 2 wasn't the greatest, and he bought the wrong item, which I guess I condone punishing him for that with the bench, but it's still, he had a decent series so far, though I don't really understand this. Instantly gets the Kalista banned against Slater. Slater is a Draven player, so maybe we see a little bit of priority on that, because Style hasn't shown us the Draven. Could potentially see the Draven, but we have Styles Varus open. Yeah, and they have defaulted to Varus every single time it was open so far. This was the pick that turned around the series against SGB last year, where SGB won the best of 5 in the upper bracket, and then they discovered Varus and 3-0'd SGB. So it's a super comfort pick.
Yeah, Varus in general is just an incredibly strong champion at the moment, but Ashe and Elise locked in.
2 power picks.
Okay.
At least 20% win rate. Oof. Are you really picking Heimerdinger into Ashe? That is very surprising to me. That's considered a support counter matchup for the Ashe, because the W clears turrets very easily. She has more range than the turrets too, so you get the push even into Heimerdinger, which is one of his biggest assets, right? He does have good objective control with the turrets and so on, and good slow fields, but in lane, the Ashe is favored. So Ashe...
your way. Do you remember in 2019, back in the day when Xin was an ADC, do you remember what champion he used to have in his pocket? Do you remember what his pocket pick it was?
The Heimerdinger Xin, yeah, I'm up for it. I like his Heimerdinger. I'm always a fan of Heimerdinger players. Not so sure about the situation right now to pick it into the Ashe, but yeah, sure. Wukong again for Levi, 8th game of the split, but here it comes. Slater Draven. I teased this. This was definitely possible after the draft. And Draven is quite good at clearing Heimerdinger turrets as well, because his Q actually deals enough damage to one-shot those turrets into a little bit into the game. So Draven into Varus. This bot lane should be spicy. And both junglers with ganking opportunities too. So SPDC is really throwing down the gauntlet, saying, okay, we are going to play through bot lane this time. 2 games, their focus has been top lane, but I believe this time we are going to see a little bit of a weak side, or just neutralizing top laner for Enper, and put all the focus on Slater.
I mean, bringing Slater back in, I was a little bit sus, because I actually think Vinboys has played fine, aside from maybe his builds, but I think he's actually played quite well, particularly in game 1. But if you're going to bring Slater back in, lock in his Draven, I actually really like this. Just reinvent the wheel a little bit, go all early game, and just kill GAM before they can do these late game team fights.
Yeah, and a lot of games across the globe have been decided in early bot dives, even against GAM. That can happen, and as I said before, it's just one game. This probably doesn't work in a best of 5, but you don't have to win a best of 5 right now. It's just one game, so I really like this volatile strategy. Just try to do something new. Try to rely on Slater, who has experience at winning deciding games against GAM. Remember, he won 2 best of 5 against GAM in 2020 to get 2 championships away from Levi and Kiaya, so this player has done it before. He's one of the champions of the VCS. His recent form hasn't looked as good, but Palette set? No, wait. They can't play Palette set. This, unfortunately, has to go in the hands of Emperor? Top lane set? Erix, help me out here. What?
I mean, I love to see it. I'm happy to see it. Could also be mid lane. It could be tier 1 set. But top lane set blind is extremely bold. Like, I really like top lane set, but blind is something.
Blind mid lane set is surely a weird decision too, right? Like, this isn't even Kati. Kati's the set player, not Dia1. Dia1 used to lose into Kati's set, so a little bit of a grudge match there. Still not sure where it's going to go. Sure, we have the AP jungler.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can sort of pick what it goes into.
We do have the AP jungler, so Set could actually go mid lane, and they did ban away the Tristana mid lane as well, so another AD mid laner. Picking Sion gives Set a good opportunity to just go top lane, and we counter pick mid lane here, I believe, because Sion doesn't really do anything against the Set, probably loses.
But it's Kati. Top lane Orianna?
Yeah, top lane Orianna? I don't think so. It's actually gonna go... Really? Are we playing Set into Orianna?
I think we are playing Set into Orianna. It doesn't surprise me. I think top lane Set is pretty bad in pro. It hurts me to say it as a Set player. But seeing... Yeah, I think Dia1 just taking the Set, playing the AD, he can also roam down to bot lane, add some real firepower to that gank squad with DNK. It makes sense to me your way.
If you say so, this composition is once again pretty short range. They do have to snowball this Draven really hard. Now, they do have nice engage options later on in the game, very good flanking opportunities, but to be able to do that, to execute on those flanking opportunities, you need to first establish vision, which is where SPDC has fallen down a bit in some of the earlier games, so not so sure if they trust them on this. Of course, Dia1 Emperor, very potent players, they could make it happen. Very cute to see them shaking hands here. So Slater and Palette, they won a title together. I'm not one to challenge them, but I feel like it really has to come down to an all-star performance from Slater. Back in, he sat on the bench for 2 games. They trusted him with this Draven. GAM certainly knew about the Draven, because I knew about the Draven, and then that means Hanke knew about the Draven too. So they definitely knew what was coming. They picked Varys Heimerdinger into Draven Ashe. So it's a little bit of... I feel like it's a little bit of hubris from the side of GAM. They could have drafted safer, more safely, but
yeah,
if it works, it works.
If it works, it works, but it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world. It is an incredibly aggressive bot lane. There is just the risk of they hit level 6, you get an Ashe ult to the face, and you just die. Yeah. Not a lot of counterplay there. This Set mid, though, like, as I said, I'm a huge Set player. I think he's my second most mastery. He's about 2 million behind Kindred, but still, second. But, this is still exciting, and look at this start.
Always like to see a little bit of skirmishing in the early game, but it shouldn't really amount to much. SPDC, dangerous. They're losing a lot of HP, but that's a big Ashe W. Palette spotting them all out. Yeah, we can calm down now, guys. We've all greeted each other. We can go back to base, get some HP back, maybe, or maybe not.
Yeah, no, they're just going to keep poking. Palette, not too happy. Can't really reset at this point either.
Yeah, they overplayed their cards a bit. Epaulet now has to use his early potion. Interested to see Style actually going with a super safe choice of the Comet instead of going for the usual Hail of Blades. So he's definitely going to go for the lethality build, of course, but he's also going to play back a bit in lane, not trade too much in terms of auto attacks into the double attack speed runes on the other side, and just sit back, uses E and Q to poke, and uses Comet to chip down the opponent. So I think a good choice. Levi wants to change the course of the game very early on. Palat has to instantly invest everything.
There's not really any hard CC, so Palat is able to just walk away. Uses his barrier.
Yep.
He has barrier.
Yeah. Barrier is very common for support Ash, because what you do is you run forward and just trade auto attacks, and then you use barrier, and the enemy team can't win. It's just impossible to win against auto attack plus barrier trades. Barrier shortest cooldown summoner in the game as well. So yeah, this is all for laning phase, and it's all gone now. She doesn't have barrier, she doesn't have HP, she doesn't even have a potion left. So this is a horrible start for the side of Ashe support. They invested quite a bit of time for Levi to go there, and now DNK can punish.
Yeah, DNK moving in does force Levi away from his chickens. And honestly, that HP trade has not really changed too much in the bot lane, as it's still very dominant here for SE. They have full control.
They do have push, yeah, but Epaulet can now not really step up aggressively to try and set up Slater with a slow or something. He has to stay back and just use his W. So you can see he's not even trying to use his Hail of Blades, so that's one huge source of power gone. But DNK wants to do this as well. We know everything is about bot lane. It's a Draven game. It's Heimerdinger in the bot lane as well, so a lot of squishy members, and here we come.
Yep, they're coming in Dia 1 as well. They get the TP and they just walk away.
Not bad. Party, forced to TP. Mid lane roam against mid lane roam. No one is in mid lane. Mid lane minions just fighting each other angrily. Right now it's both mid laners chill in bot lane, but early win for SPDC, I'd say.
Oh, but is there going to be a round 2? There is still a flash for Dia1. Moving forward, breaks the face. The volley lands. Can we find one more axe? We can! First blood for Slater. Welcome back, mate.
And usually you say First Blood is good on Draven, but it doesn't actually give that much gold. But he actually cashed out for 240 plus 50 extra, plus First Blood, so 400. So that's more than 700 gold, or almost 700 gold for one kill. He's gonna come back with a Sheen, maybe even a completed item. That is a huge game changer. They wanted to play through bot lane. They made it happen. GAM overstepping their welcome in the bot lane, and this is now a dangerous game state.
It certainly is, and Dia1 barely even misses anything for himself as he TPs back to mid lane, catches this big wave. Not that he's going to be a carry on this team, he's very much just there to enable Slater, but everything coming up chicken.
And Carrix, is
and your way.
Carty gonna lose to mid lane Sad roaming into bot lane?
Oh, it would be poetic if he did.
I thought the exact same word, just as you said poetic. I was like, yeah, he's gonna say poetic, because it is such a Carty thing to do. He dominated the league on Flash so many times with this stupid mid lane pick. Every time we saw it in 2020, we're like, how does he keep getting away with this champ that can't lane? But yeah, he just kept making it work into Dia1, who was the premier laner. Think back to 2020 spring, where he got 37 solo kills, I think. World record
just
back then.
Tristana and Syndra.
Syndra, Tristana. And here we go again.
Oh, flash stand aside. In they come. Good tower to block the cocoon, but it doesn't matter when Style is destroyed. Slater, the secret weapon. 2-0 at 5.5 minutes.
Welcome to the League of Slater! He comes back from the bench, and what a performance he's showing! This is dangerous, and this is getting out of hand for GAM. They need to find something, they need to staunch the bleeding. This Draven is snowballing out of control.
Look at this play, by the way. Look how confident Slater is. Flash stand aside.
Yeah, look at DNK, he's completely useless, because Zin actually uses his towers really well to block the skill shot. Nice little interaction there. Zin knows how to play against elites. This is something I want to keep in mind for the next time I see Elise against Heimerdinger, because that looks absolutely unplayable for the Elise, but it doesn't matter, because the bot lane is already putting on the carry pants, and Slater does not want to go for this meek little item that's called Essence Reaver. He wants to go Bloodthirster first item, and he might have it on this recall.
It is...
Yep.
It is literally Bloodthirster at 6.5 minutes. Funnily enough, GAM is still going to get this first Drake. It's just kind of how the resets have worked out. SE does not particularly care about that. There's a very, very minor loss for them. And you have to look at Slater. He has now had a situation where he gets subbed out against Box, and everyone just goes, yeah, fair enough. They're just giving the rookies a run against Box, right? That's how I read it. I think that's how a lot of people read it. But then the rookies stay in. And then they stay in. And now you get to game 3 against GAM, number 1 in team in the league. And they finally let Slater back in. And he's like, I'm securing my spot.
And if this is a pre-planned strategy, this is actually so unbelievably smart from the side of SBTC, because as the enemy team, you have to wonder, why is Slater not in, right? You probably say, he's not performing in scrims, so we don't have to worry about him. But maybe it was actually just a ploy to give them a false sense of security, where Slater is still the better ADC, and you have him in your back pocket, and just put him in for game 3 after winning 1 game and win, boys, and you have this special strategy prepared. Now, still, I have to say, it was not that hard to read. I called it out before he was even there, so Hank K, if you didn't see this coming, I'm gonna flame you on Twitter, but this is working out so well for SPTC, and they might be the first team in the league to get a series against GAM, but they still have to perform. It's a big lead, and Slater is untouchable right now.
It would be such an SE thing for them to be the only ones to beat GAM, despite the fact that they aren't looking that amazing themselves.
Lose 0-2 against Flash to then 2-1 GAM. Yep, SE.
You love it. As Levi is down here trying to buy some space for his bot lane, but I don't even know if you win this.
No, you don't.
Slater is 3 men.
Look at Slater's items, look at Styles' item. Nope, you do not win this. No.
Style has 2 swords.
True,
Slater only has 1.
He has more items than Slater right now.
Oh my word. Dia1 in the mid lane, still just farming it up. This Rift Herald will reset. Shelly having a bit of an interesting little jank walk there. But it is just set, farming it up, has the showstopper. Levi will start up this Rift Herald. Is DK going to contest? Because this will be 2 mostly uncontested objectives for GAM.
Yeah, they're not interested in fighting on the top side, though. They know where their bread is buttered. They know all the powers in the bot lane. And honestly, the more time you can buy for Slater to just farm and... Yeah, look at this. This is instantly traded for plates because they can't 2v2. It's just not possible. Ashe has an ultimate now. Slater has an ultimate now. His stacks count is probably pretty low because he already got 2 kills. But still, that's a Bloodthirster.
At the moment.
Yeah, that can execute a Heimerdinger quite easily. Heimerdinger with something like 600 HP. You hit Ashe arrow, you hit 1 auto attack, you hit 2 axes and an ultimate, he's dead. So, yeah, you have to walk away from the tower. It's a horror show in bot lane.
They even threw out the Varusol just to try and buy them a little bit of time. It did nothing. We use the term snowball quite a lot. You know, it's a pretty standard league term. I don't think it's appropriate. I think this is just a freight train. I don't think there's any stopping Slater.
Yeah. At the moment, certainly not. You might be able to stop him a little bit later. So the Bloodthirster, the way the Bloodthirster interacts is, if you get the Bloodthirster at 5 minutes, you cannot die. Realistically, you need like 5 people to kill him because he's too tanky. Look at the shield. He has too much HP. He has too much sustain. You really can't fight him. So the way you play around this is you just wait, you pray that they overstep, and once he's on 2-3 items, the Bloodthirster is not going to make him that tanky. So then you might be able to kill him. So right now, GAM is trying to back up their strategy. They wanted to contest bot lane, failed really badly. So now they're just saying, okay, you have to survive in bot lane. I'm sorry you're 30 CS down. I'm sorry you're 4 plates down soon. But there's nothing we can do. We just have to rely on Slater overstepping. He doesn't have clans. We have good engage on him. In teamfights, we still trust on our ability to isolate Slater and kill him. So right now, it's just GAM with damage control, trying to scale into the mid game.
And that is much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
This is damage control, and you've got a Band-Aid on board the Titanic. Can you patch that one up? If anyone could, it would be GAM, of course. And looking across the map, it is all about this bot lane. Like, the camera could literally just be locked onto Slater, and it would tell the entire story of this game. Because up in the top side, it's a Scion farming alongside a Gnar. In the mid lane, it's just an Orianna and a Set.
They do use the objective to buy a little bit of space for the dragon fight, but of course, fighting dragon is super dangerous for GAM. That is a stack Draven, and he holds all the power on the map. This chunk on Dia is good, but he does have TP, so he doesn't have to worry as much. He has to TP to the tower, though. We're not at 14 minutes, so GAM might have a small timing window where they can get to two dragons.
They also roam their Scion.
Yeah, and 2 dragons into a snowballing Draven is quite amazing. You're not supposed to win dragon fights when the bot lane is losing this hard, so looks like GAM found a window. This is really nice macro for the side of GAM. Of a good usage of Rift Herald and Karti, really pushing forward. Uh-oh.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Where did that even come from? Style in so much trouble. Here comes Slater. It's another cash out. 600 gold.
How does he have 600 stacked already again? This champion is so insane, Garrix. Why? Oh
that
my
arrow,
God.
though, from Paulette.
Yeah, beautiful. Ay. Yeah, it's really nicely done. They had no vision on him here. This is just pure prediction. There's no vision whatsoever. Style is very lucky he doesn't get executed there, but then stand aside, Style. Quite literally, stand aside. Go back to base, because later has another item ready. Once he goes back to base, you do not want to face him.
This is getting a little bit dirty your way. This is the League of Draven, and Slater is running it.
Yep, look. Keep your eyes on this inventory. Yep, there it is. Okay, how do you ever kill this Draven? Look at his items. Yeah. He has something like 400 lifesteal and a big shield. Yep. No one can kill him right now. And he does a flash as well. There's one tiny little thing that I don't like about this game. Okay, so the heal was great for laning fit, right? And he made use of it. He doesn't have any cleanse effect, though. And he doesn't have a support that can build Mikael. So that is the one hope you can hold on to. He doesn't have a way to remove CC, so if you ever catch Slater, which shouldn't be possible, but if you do, there's a chance you can burst him down.
Maybe.
In 20 minutes. Not right now.
There's a chance. Not right now. Not for a little while. Let's see how the game looks in 20 minutes, as it is... It's just the Slater show. We're not even really talking about anyone else because it's just like fundamentally not that important, not that interesting compared to this absolute menace. Yeah,
it's... So now it's on SPTC to actually advance the game, right? To snowball the game cleanly. GAM does have an opportunity to just do nothing for the next 10 minutes because they did secure the first 2 dragons, so they're not really in need of contesting the next 3 dragons even. That they can just sit back, scale. Ooh, close. That was a death for Karti. Just flying by very closely. But yeah, GAM can just clear waves, can just try to wait for mistakes for SPTC, and SPTC is now the one that have to advance the game state, break some towers, and try to really snowball this home. They do have the damage, they do have the items to do so, but they still need to execute it cleanly.
They do, as they are going to go for a play in the top side, but Kiaya just turns into a train, gets out of there. There should be a lot of tower damage for SE. They're actually just going to trade it for towers in the bottom side. It's got to be said that despite the absolute menace that Slater is, GAM is doing incredible things with their macro.
Yeah, GAM's macro is so much better than any others in the VCS, and we can see this over and over again. Their lane setups, their objective controls, it's just on the next level. Okay, that's a big dive.
Dia 1 in so much trouble, just goes down.
Over to Style. Oh no, oh no,
Oh, they've caught on to Karti. Another axe, one more. There it is, another cash out, 200 gold.
Hey, you traded kills. That's an even trade, right? XD.
No. League of Draven. This should also allow him to get the mid lane tower because Orianna will not be there to clear it out. Kiaya He's there. Blast goes back over straight into DNK. Won't be able to stop him getting out of the jungle, I imagine. No, he can't. Mid tower goes down, and it's a 5k gold lead now. Let's have a look at this replay of how they got Dia 1.
Yeah, and this is still very good macro from GAM, because they know all the gold is on Draven, right? So they can attack the other players. The other players are not that strong, and Kati, yeah, I mean, you flashed in a straight line against Ash Arrow. You deserve to die, Kati. I'm sorry to say that, but you could have flashed to the other side and you would have been safe. So,
300 gold.
Yep, just 320, why not? He already gets so many catch ups. Yeah, the gold stats look healthy. The fun thing about this is Enper is 1k gold ahead of everyone else. But Slater is 2.5k gold on his own top lane, up on his own top lane. And who's already 1k gold ahead of the next highest? That is the extent to which Draven is balanced.
Oh my word, your way. Oh my word. Slater is just absolutely massive. Props to GAM for managing to avoid him, but now you have a dragon where you can't avoid him. If you want to fight for this, you have to deal with Slater.
Gaia looks like he can tank a few hits, but that was one auto attack with an axe and 200 damage on Gaia. He can't withstand that for too long.
In they go. They've got the catch. There it is. Cardi just destroyed. Levi next on the chopping block has to cyclone just to get himself out of there. And that's going to be GAM sent running.
And GAM, why are you fighting? You know you can't win. There's no possible way in which you can win this dragon fight. You already have 2 dragons. Just back off. We praised their macro, but this was the first big overstep and unnecessary fight for GAM. Now, finally, some kills transitioned over to the other side. And honestly, Enper...
That 300 damage was one auto attack, by the way.
Yeah, nice. But by the way, Enper is having a great game. He played very defensively on the top side, but he's 1k gold up and found this really good engage here as well. So Enper, in the shadow of Slater being the showman in this game, is actually having an incredible performance against GAM.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well. Honestly, all of SE are playing their roles super well. Slater's just finished another item your way.
Ah, well, why not?
He's 3 items before Styles got 1.
It is a horror show. But he doesn't have penetration, so... Once again, if I'm trying to look for openings, that Sion is quite tanky. And he doesn't have pen yet. And he might go IE because he's a greedy Draven player. So potentially in 5-6 minutes, you could maybe fight with Kiaya and Draven's face. But if Slater plays it safely, he should just build an armor penetration item, and then even Kiaya doesn't stand a chance. But let's see where he goes. We have seen some questionable itemization in the last game.
We have. As it looks like a play around the bottom side here, Enper just smacking his head into the tower a little bit. They're trying to set it up for a Rift Herald take. I don't think they did enough damage. Shelly should get her charge off here. Yeah, I don't think they can interrupt that. Ooh, nearly. That is now a low inner tower. They don't actually get it. Slater still just farming up a storm in the mid lane. Style has just converted his bargain bin items into 2 completed items.
Yeah, no mythic to be seen. He's utility Varus in this case, where Serpent's Fang will hopefully actually do quite a bit to cut through all the shielding from Slater. And diminish the incoming shielding, more importantly. Cutting through the shielding, yeah, it's good, but especially if you face Blood Warrior, no, actually the Shield Bow, of course, it's not an on-item. If you face the Shield Bow, the dangerous thing about the Shield Bow is the shield that comes in when you already almost killed him. So if you ever catch him out and then the Shield Bow brings him back to almost full HP, that is now, with Styles itemization into Serpent's Fang, probably not that big of an option. So I like this here. He's not going to be the main carry. He's never going to be the main carry after going 1 and 2 down in the bot lane. So Style realizes his role in this game. He has no ego. He just goes Serpent's Fang. I really like to see that. Good team player.
Yep, good team player. Isn't just saying everyone else has to deal with the Draven. Will actually help out. Ash spotting out more people. Such a powerful part of this supports kit. As SE are kind of just lurking around. Without an objective to force GAM out, they don't actually have an enormous amount of options.
They're just waiting for the next opportunity. You can see Enper is starting to push down the bot lane with Trinity Force. He will make very quick work of that tower once he hits it. So I like to see that little shift Enper into the bot lane. He's quite strong as well. And the interesting thing is Enper now opted for Black Cleaver second, which means Draven can kind of forego the penetration for now and just go for IE for even bigger damage spikes, especially on the squishy members. If he hits on one IE X auto attack on the likes of Xin, that's probably more than half HP gone.
They're just going to start the Baron. They think better of it though, as SE was moving to respond. Sorry, GAM was moving to respond, I should say.
Oh, style. Lost the shield.
What you want to see? Do they pull the trigger on an Ashe ult? No, not at the moment. Happy just continuing to let Enper be a menace in the side lane, something he is very experienced at doing. Kiaya going back. No, never mind. Gets interrupted.
Once
Did have TP regardless, and look, Slater's just on Baron.
I mean, Slater could honestly just solo Baron, as you can see. He's not losing any HP. Ooh, this is dangerous, though.
They're pulling the trigger. 8k health. Kiaya gets cocooned, but he's incredibly tanky. Only really Slater can cut through him. Baron resets. I think this might be a bridge too far from SE. I think they should just back off.
Yeah, as you said earlier, they don't really have anything to do, but they might have just given up the mid tower for no big reason.
And dragon positioning. They haven't reset.
They do have the TP. Look at the TP. Very deep from Dia1 on the other side of the map. GAM has no idea where he is. There's no war to spot him, so Dia1 is looking for the ultra flank. Can he find the angle?
Dia1 on the way in, flashes over the wall, brings them in. The party gets started with Styles' death. Slater takes him down. Now they're on top of him.
Slater?
Can they
Slater?
finish him off? He's desperately hiding. He goes down. And now GAM can charge forward. They've got the health bar advantage.
No way.
Levi. Kiaya gets one. Enfer falls. Triple kill for Levi. And they wipe the chickens off the map.
How do they keep getting away with this? This is insane. No, there's no way GAM can win this team fight. What? Oh my god, Slater just got 1v1 by Levi. How?
I have no words.
Oh my word. Now GAM gets the Baron. They're still behind in gold, but not by much. And this Baron should help them get some objectives on the map too. We have to look at this again. Okay, the engage from Dia1 is beautiful. They get Style, but Style is not the main carry, as we said earlier. Now, all the CC piled on top of Slater. He doesn't have a cleanse effect. He gets to auto-take now, but he's already down to like 200 HP and just doesn't have the damage, doesn't have the sustain to cut through Levi. Surprisingly, he needs a cleanse, I believe, in the next few team fights. He might have to change his item build to include that QSS to get away there. What a change, and suddenly the game is super, super close. GAM might steal away yet another victory.
Maybe. We're on the dragon now, though. Slater, despite that death, is still extremely powerful. It's not like he loses items from it. Enper has Meganar ready to go. There's the Varus ult being used. Dia1 ulting Carti. Just holding him up. Enper can't do anything, though. He's just being taken down. DK falls as well. Slater has to do everything, but he has Kiaya in his face. This is a Baron buffed GAM. Double kill now for the Varus. Good damage going in. Now a Shockwave catches onto the Draven. He's in a 1v3.
He needs to auto attack.
There's anything you can do about it. He has to turn and burn. He goes down and the wheels immediately fell off this wagon. They're skidding into a ditch and GAM is coasting home.
Oh, how are they losing this game? This is the highway robbery. I can't believe GAM is going to win this game. This is so insane. But Slater, once again, crucial itemization mistake. He doesn't have the penetration, and Kiaya can just stand on top of him. Even though he's so far ahead in gold, he can't damage the Scion. He's relying on Enper to cut down the armor, but Enper gets caught, so no one is cutting down the armor for him. And Slater, honestly, just useless in the backline. Look at him. He has barely dealt any damage in this game, and 89 damage on Kiaya on a single auto attack, that's just not enough. We see here Carti and Xin almost overstab into the Slater, and Slater could have been able to kill Carti. Maybe crit not quite enough here, but in the end it's just not building armor penetration, not being able to deal with this Scion who just stands on top of his face. And here's IE now. He has 4 items. but it might have been, once again, a crucial itemization mistake for Slater.
It may well have been. I don't actually think it comes down to Slater's decision making. I think there's been a huge amount of miscommunication out of SE, not just playing Peel for him.
True.
This set is going in and ulting onto Cardi. It was a terrible ult in that last fight, and it was an engage ult in the fight before that, when you could just stand on top of Slater and say, whichever one of you dives him, I'm taking you out.
Yeah, and especially if you look at the composition, it's 1.5. Oh, we have an engage for GAM. This is risky. Later.
Yeah, they get the tower though. Dia 1 is the target at the moment. Big haymaker, but not big enough. I just think SE can't stop them now. I think they missed their window. I think there was misplays out of Dia 1, and I don't think they can recover.
See, SBTC still fancying a fight potentially. They're just clearing the wave there to make it a little bit harder to kill this tower. Yeah, they're on the back foot now, and they're limping away. They look so impotent now in this game. There's nothing they can do. Slater, he has so much gold, but he can't cut through the tank, so he really can't step up for the team fights. I don't think it's completely over, but they're certainly not in a good position now.
Yeah, I think it's really hard now to actually bring anything to bear. Slater is a one-man army.
The flank is coming. Enper is very low on Narstex. He needs to get up there.
The catch onto Style is there. This might be SE trying to find a miracle. DNK is extremely deep. Needs to be super careful. Levi just hops over the wall. SE can't really catch them.
They tried so hard to find the engage onto the backline, corralling GAM into a position where they could collapse, but it's just not good enough. GAM just sprints away towards their own tower, and now Slater and the team have to defend against mid lane push. So SBTC firmly on the back foot now. Slater is still a huge damage threat. If he ever goes unpunished in a teamfight, 4-item Draven can certainly win a teamfight for you. But the big problem is SBTC's composition is kind of a 1.5 threat composition, right? You have Enper with decent damage, and then it's mostly Slater behind that. Palette doesn't really deal damage, Dia1 doesn't deal any damage, and DNK only with a little bit of burst. So they need to protect Slater, and as he pointed out, I think they need to change their approach to teamfights. They lost to a bad read of teamfights in the last game where they engaged onto a Ryze-Veigar composition, and it seems like they just can't get away from engaging. They can't stop themselves from going in, but they need to in this game. They need to protect Slater. He's their crown jewel of their composition. They just need to make him kill everyone.
Yeah, and he's still strong. He's a 4-item Draven. But your way, it's getting harder and harder. This Orianna is able to buy so much space, able to poke him so much range. You have a Sion with a Sunfire and that Juk Show. Levi doing huge amounts of damage. 3-item Wukong. This is so heavily GAM favored in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Palette actually goes Mikael's here. I know Mikael's on Ashe sounds absolutely horrible for the Ashe player, but honestly, for the sake of the composition, it might be necessary, because they really need to give Slater another life in the fight. They need to give him a second wind once he gets stunned, so he can run away and maybe reposition himself. Because the last time he was just perma-knocked up, the bounce house was employed, and he couldn't move in between auto attacks, so I feel like it might be necessary. There is the first armor pen component, but they can't get to the full item before Dragon, which is coming up in 10 seconds. Everything is warded for GAM. SBTC need to find an opening.
Kiaya uses the ult, only just bumps onto Enper, nothing to write home about, but GAM have full control over the river. Levi spotted.
Enper Meganar.
Cares. Enper Meganar. That might be a little bit too early. They don't have a huge window now to engage. Can he find that flash? Nah, into the wall. I don't think he can. Tier 1 in the pit, spotted by that plant, and now with no Meganar, SE are in trouble.
15 seconds on the cooldown on the Meganar, usually, on the Narbar, so now GAM needs to move quickly. Enper can't really do anything. He's kind of useless on the Mininar, and GAM instantly collapses onto the Dragon. The Dragon is going down quickly. Uh-oh.
They're just forcing it down. DNK, he's not close enough. This is just going to go down. This is just going to be Ocean Soul secured. DNK, can you be a miracle worker? No, you can't. It's going to be Levi securing it. Kiaya buying up so much time for the entire team.
Levi!
In goes Levi, the shockwave from Carty. And GAM are here to stay. They are wiping SE off the map. Slater can do nothing. DNK last ball, double kill for Levi. And they will walk up mid. I'm not sure if they can quite end the game. I think they can, though. And 6-0 is GAM.
Yet another masterclass in team fighting. This team has always been amazing in skirmishes, amazing at collapsing, amazing at finding engages. And Levi Wukong, I think he ended the game on something like 7-0. What a performance again. It looked unwinnable after the early game. 6-minute bloodthirst of a Slater. He was incredible. 4-0 in lane. But GAM is the better team. Their team fighting is just immaculate, and they walk away with yet another victory. It's 6-0, as he said. They struggled a lot today. It wasn't their best performance, but they still are undefeated in the league.
This is a dominant start for GAM, as you said. I agree with you. Today was not the best performance. Their bot lane got shown a little bit iffy once or twice, particularly in that last early game. But it just doesn't matter when every single member of that team can lift together and get things over the line. They are just an incredible unit. They are 6-0. SGB, can you be the saviors of the league, or is it just GAM time?
It might just be GAM time, but I still think they look vulnerable enough that some teams can have hope. Yes, Cerberus already played GAM and they lost against GAM, but they did play them closely, and another series might bring a different result. We've seen Artemis be in incredible form, same with the likes of Yado and even Punt, so you never know. I don't think GAM is looking as dominant as in some of the other splits we have casted together, but they are 6-0. They have the perfect record, so there's not really much you can say. I'm waiting for the stats for this game because
the interesting thing is that I actually think them going 6-0 like this will end up with them being stronger than their previous dominant runs. And we can come back to why I think that. Let's have a breakdown of these stats first.
Big difference in mid lane damage, and honestly, the Draven only dealing 12.4k damage really shows you that he wasn't successful in team fights. I would guess that like 10k of that is before the 15 or maybe 16, 17 minute mark, because afterwards he didn't really do much. He was just hitting a Sion that was shielding all this damage away. Sion out-damaged Draven in this game. Can you believe that? His own jungler out-damaged Slater. So
he wasn't able to actually participate in fights.
Yeah.
Because they weren't peeling for him.
They weren't peeling for him, his itemization was questionable, and they also just didn't set up the fights successfully. DR1 tried to be carty too hard, tried to find the engages, but it was just not the way to play this game. He could have just waited for Wukong to come in and then ult him away, right? Just showstop the engage. Instead, he tried to always go in style, but style was so far behind. If you trade 1-for-1 ADCs, it's not the way to go in this game. So once again, VCS team that's ahead loses to misreading their own teamfight win conditions. This is why the best teamfighting teams in the end kind of end up winning all the time. And GAM has historically been the best teamfighting team here in the VCS, and they show it once again.
Well, as I was saying before I hit my mic and mute it, I think a GAM that gets challenged in each series is actually terrifying because they will continue to push themselves. They will not be resting on their laurels. But we will be going to a little break. We have Cerberus taking on Team Secret after the break. Don't go anywhere. This is VCS English. We're back soon.